Why do you drop one-liners just as we go live? Andrew. God damn it. Hi, everybody. GameHounds podcast. We are here again Sunday afternoon, 2:00 Pacific, 5:00 Eastern. That means we are here talking games. Not only what we've been playing, but news from around the world, around the week. And we have with us Nick DiNicola, Andrew Smith. Yeah, Nick DiNicola. No, there we go. Nick DiNicola, Andrew Smith, and me, Edie Sellers. If you are just joining us for the first time on Twitch, clearly you aren't because there's nobody in the chat room yet. If you are joining us for the first time on Twitch, we've been doing this. Like I said, I found last week, I found all of those old files. So I know I thought we started in 2008. We started in 2007 because I did a best of 2008 recording and I found it, and it started episode 20. So we were actually broadcasting in 2007. So we've been doing this a very long time. Granted, these guys weren't there. No, those guys.
I've been doing it for a long time too. At least 4 weeks.
That's right. It's your 1 month anniversary, dude. Congratulations.
It's longer than I thought.
Yeah, Nick's been doing it for, gosh, you've been almost that long with me. It was only a year and change that I was doing it with other hosts.
I didn't start in 2008.
No, I think you started in 2009.
Was it really 2009?
I'm going to have to go back and look.
I thought it was later than that.
I feel like, no, like I said, Uncharted 2. When was Uncharted 2?
Uncharted 2 had been out for a little while, hadn't it? No, it hadn't. No, it had just come out.
October 13th, 2009.
Damn.
Told you, 2009.
So maybe at least late 2009, early 2010.
Yeah. So you've been at this for 11 years. In October, it'll be 11 years.
Wow. That's so weird. Because, like, what was I doing in 2008? 2008.
You were like an embryo. You were not a fully formed adult at that point. How old were you in 2008, Andrew?
16.
Yeah.
I was a sophomore in high school.
Oh my God, I'm so old.
I think I was graduating college.
Yeah, you had graduated college. I know that. You were an intern. I know that. For the company you're now working for.
Yeah.
So that was, you were single, tragically single. Kind of like you are now.
In 2008?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't.
You had a girlfriend?
Yeah.
I didn't.
In 2008.
October 2008. October 2009. When you started the show, you never mentioned you had a girlfriend.
Why would I?
It was not an express condition, but it was something in the back of my head that I did not do shows with guys with girlfriends, not because I had a problem with it, but because when they break up, because podcasts take a lot of time. And if they ever break up, then the show usually, it means that the girlfriend usually looks at the podcast and goes, your problem is you're not spending enough time with me. You need to stop doing the podcast. And then it's me or the podcast. And if it's between the girlfriends, a girlfriend or a podcast, most people reasonably would choose the person rather than the show.
Yeah, I don't think that's reasonable. That's kind of a stupid.
Because you were brought on for exactly that reason.
It's stupid thinking, because if someone gets jealous about a podcast, that speaks to a much greater rift and conflict of personality than you can solve by stopping the podcast.
Look,
that's just
stupid. That. And I know that, but try to explain that to some guy whose wife, in my case, was leaving him because he wasn't spending enough time with her. and apparently it was.
At that point, he's invested enough time.
Well, let's just say he quit the podcast,
cost.
and she still divorced him.
Oh, see, there you go. See, no point.
I should say she still cheated on him.
The podcast is never the problem. It's always just an excuse.
Yeah. So yeah, we had a number of dicey relationships, and pretty much as soon as there is a dicey relationship, the podcast, that's usually the first thing that goes.
I don't think
if I'd have known you had a girlfriend, I would have been like.
And when you got your current one, there may have been murmurings and worries.
Right.
I'm sure that I wouldn't let that happen. I like the podcast too much.
When you and Caitlin got together, there was that, oh fuck, here it comes. All right, I'm gonna have to start looking for another co-host. Shit.
If someone I'm dating doesn't think the podcast is cool, that's a reason not to date them.
Look, you know that. I know that, but
so I'm saying I know that, so you can keep that in the back of your mind.
I know. Okay, good.
Because look, the truth is, the podcast is just a tiny % of the giant dorkiness that I am.
Right.
So if the podcast is too much, then it's like, no, there's like a whole bunch of other shit.
Yeah, it's like love me. The podcast is just a symptom of a bigger thing that you need to embrace me.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. That's why that guy back there, he knows. He knows.
I'm taking notes. Give me a minute. Let me write this down.
Don't you, honey? Hey, Kev, you know that if you said to me, it's me or the podcast,
you for you.
You might not win that.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. No, I know.
I mean,
because it's not about the podcast. It's about if you can't if you clearly want somebody that's not me, that may look like me, but isn't actually me. That you want me to be somebody else. And it's like, that is not a good thing. So yeah.
Plus, you've had your 10-year anniversary with GameHounds like a while ago. It's a committed relationship at this point.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
This is my child. I have no children. This show, I didn't expect it to be what it is, but it was not expected, but this is my child, and killing it would be like killing my child.
I mean, you already did that once.
I'm not saying you don't abuse it on a regular basis. Oh, you absolutely do. That's why I'm not a mother. But that's the thing. I can abuse this show and not have Child Protective Services be called out on me.
We've learned anything from Sims or Fable.
Oh yeah,
I'm a good idea.
Yeah, you do not want to put me in control of a child. No. So we've got the chat room is starting to fill up. We got AC Wraith, of course, our link bitch. Thank you very much for being here. Miles Thompson, thank you very much, dude. Hello back. We've got is it Vice what you know this? It's Vice. It's your friend Vice. Huh?
Vice Ravana?
Vice Ravana. Yes.
Yeah.
But it's twice, and that's what's
Vice Ravana 20, Vice Ravana 20. That's a tongue twister.
Yes, it is. So, shall we? I have to do this breaker show, and I'm double checking to make sure that we still have waveforms on this, because just so you know, hi Jupiter. We do this show, and we also do a podcast, a traditional audio podcast, which is what this show was originally for most of its life. We simulcast the show audio live while we do the video live, and then we also release it on iTunes as a podcast. So those all require a bunch of things moving about. So I have to do the stuff here. So talk amongst yourselves. Okay. How are you? How was your week?
My week was good.
Do you know anybody who has COVID yet?
No, actually, yes. Which is probably a good thing.
You do, Andrew?
Yes.
Who do you know caught COVID?
I had a coworker who was non-symptomatic who got COVID.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Was he coming to work?
She? I'm not sure when she got it. Again, she was non-symptomatic, but when she heard that she might have been in presence of someone. They sent her home, and she ended up getting a test, and she was positive. So she's actually probably coming back to work Monday.
Did she get sick at all?
No, non-symptomatic.
Okay. So she remained non-symptomatic, because you can start off non-symptomatic and have it go right to shit.
Oh yeah, no. From what I've understood, she's been fine the entire time. So
good. So Nick, nobody you know, huh?
No, like everyone at my job that I work with, they are, working from home.
Right.
So that's not an issue. And then none of you are, and then other people I know aren't. None of my family is, as far as I know.
Yeah, we're being super careful because Kevin is a high-risk person for a lot of different reasons. Fortunately, I'm not, but Kevin has, even though he's younger than I am, he's got ticked off all the things. The only thing he doesn't have is a compromised immune system yet.
And see, my mom is super high risk too, so I'm super worried about getting it because I'm around her all the time.
And you're going to work. You're working outside. I mean, with other people, where in a state where they allow that. With us, all of our offices are shut down.
Yeah, mine's essential where I work, and we won't get into where. But
yeah,
if I catch it or if someone catches it and we're near them for an extended period of time, if you think you have it, you can call in and you'll get 2 weeks paid off. They'll pay you to stay home.
Good.
Even if they're like, hey, so my sister had it and I was hanging out with her 4 days ago. They'll just stay home. You can't come in. Go get a test. Right.
Good. Vice says, old guy 2 flats above me died from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the people that we play with, one of his friends came down with it, and he's going to recover, but he was on a ventilator, and he looks like a shell of himself. It's going to be a long road of recovery, but he will recover. But
if you get put on a ventilator, I think the mortality rate is 70%. That is, you are far gone at that point. I read a story recently that was going around where a guy lost all of his fingers.
Oh,
because it makes your blood, it makes your blood thicker, which is why this was in the early days before they really knew what to do, and now blood thinners are standard priority when you go in with them. But he went on a ventilator, and they didn't know that that's what happens with your blood. It's also a high reason that people who are healthy died was just because of a blood clot or stroke.
Right.
And all his fingers had to be amputated because of it, because they died.
Yeah, he's actually lucky if that happened to him, that it was only his fingers, because there's a thing called pulmonary embolism, or also known as PE, that is pretty much instant death. That's where you get a blood clot in your lungs, or worse, you had a stroke. Blood clots are just bad, no matter where they are. But
I mean, they're
bad or worse.
Other than physical damage, his fingers, the guy's gonna make a full recovery, and he realizes that he is in a very small percentage of people.
Yeah. I'm terrified that I'm afraid I'm going to get it, because, I am pretty healthy, and I can just see myself being that person who is no pre-existing conditions and gets sick and dies. The other thing is that I don't want to drag it into the house because of Mr. Man back there, that if he gets it, he's fucked. He is so fucked.
And, in general, the death rate's going down because they do know how to treat it better than they did. Again, knowing that what it does to you, they can give you blood thinners and other things to kind of treat the symptoms.
Yeah, Vice says, I have a friend in New York during the peak. Within a week, 5 people in her circle passed away. 1 was in her mid-20s.
Wow.
New York was bad. New York was
horrible. It was infection central, and not only that, it was so early in the cycle of it that they really didn't know how to treat it properly. Even now, they're still kind of figuring it out, but they know more now than they did back in April.
The issue is just its severity is so different between people. That even if you do know how to treat it, putting someone on blood thinners who's not really symptomatic and has a few things, you don't want to do that. But if you don't do that and suddenly gets much worse for no reason, then you're looking at a lot of trouble.
Yeah. That being said, if I can give, all right, we haven't started the show. I'm all ready to go. All I have to do is press live, but I do want to press upon everybody who's listening, by the way. This is the message, my coronavirus message for the week. If you are staying away from your doctor, if you're like, I'm not going in for my physical, or I'm putting aside, I'm not going in because I've got this thing that I normally would go to the doctor to see, but I don't want to do it because of coronavirus, don't. Go get treated. Go whatever, because right now, the hospitals for even with emergency rooms, people are not going into the emergency rooms when they normally would have gone there. And people are not going to the doctor for blood tests and just random stuff, or even, voluntary stuff, physicals. They're not doing it right now and haven't been since this whole thing started. Nobody. You want concierge service? Go to the doctor now. Literally, you call up, you get an appointment within the week, and they will be in and out in 30 minutes. I went in for an ultrasound, and I was like, okay, this is going to take a couple of hours. I was car to car, meaning from the time I got out of my car until the time I got back in my car, it was 30 minutes. That's how fast. I left my car, walked in, they took my name, they walked me back, they did the ultrasound. She actually spent extra time on the ultrasound because they have nothing to do right now because nobody's going in. I got back in the car, I left, I was in the car in 30 minutes. Go get yourself treated. If you've got anything wrong with you, I always wanted to go to the dermatologist, go to the freaking dermatologist. Nobody's going to the dermatologist right now. So you're going to have tons of time with your doctor. That's what you want to do. So yeah, go
live in a hotspot. That might be dangerous, Houston, stuff like that. Those places are a bit scary.
Even in Houston and places like that, most of those places they've done screening, and it's like if you're wearing a mask, everyone around you is wearing a mask. You're washing your hands. The chance of transmission is fairly low. So, and especially in a hospital environment, they are very, very careful. They are incredibly careful, better than a supermarket. People are not going to the hospital because they're afraid of getting coronavirus, but they are going to the supermarket. I would way trust a hospital or a doctor's office before I trust a supermarket. God, supermarkets are freaking petri dishes right now. Just saying.
Anyway. Man, I was going to go to a supermarket after this, but never mind. Thanks.
Yeah, if you can afford to get your shit delivered, get your shit delivered.
No, I've gone to the supermarket a bunch. That's probably the place I go to most often now.
Yeah, I'm going to go there today.
Food.
Mm-hmm. All right, people, you ready to do the show?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I guess.
There's modern culture and technology, and these podcasters are big fat potty mouths. If you're younger than 18 or are easily offended, please stop this podcast now. Oh, and your mom says to take out the trash and do your homework.
All right, mics are hot. Hello and welcome to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 556. We are recording this on Sunday, August 2nd, 2020. I'm Edie Sellers. With me is Nick DiNicola and Andrew Smith. How you doing, guys?
Now I'm suddenly wondering where Jupiter went.
Oh, God.
He was here.
You know he's into trouble. How are you, Andrew?
At this point in the day, he's probably sleeping.
Pretty good. I took the week to just take care, play some single player games and take time to myself. And now I want a cat, but that's not.
No, you don't want a cat.
I do want a cat. I love cats. They're the best.
Cats are great.
No.
Cats are great.
Cats are better than dogs.
Dogs are better. Oh, you are.
No.
That if you'd have said that before you were on this show as a third chair, after, by the way, happy 1 month anniversary. If you had not made it to a month, I might be rethinking my decision to have you as our third chair. By
listen,
dogs are so much better than cats, dude.
I love dogs.
What are you thinking?
Cats can love you just as much as dogs, and they're like a quarter of the work.
Cats can, but they can also not. And that's the thing. Dogs always do. Dogs always love you. No matter how horrible a person you are, dogs will love you.
My parents, after the older dog that they had when I was a kid died, they recently got a new one. Like at this point, maybe a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Oh, that dog's a little bitch.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, fuck Lucy. Lucy, I know you're hearing. Fuck you, you little tiny asshole.
What kind of dog is it?
I don't know. It's a little tiny dog, like maybe this big.
And my mom did the exact same thing, and that dog was awful.
Yeah, because tiny dogs are awful.
The dog is so neurotic. Like when I walk in to visit them, she instantly just goes nuts and starts barking and barking and barking at me. Even when I come in, at times she'll just stop, and then, like, if you make any sort of sudden movement, she'll just burst out and start barking at you again. And then she'll bark at me and then roll over and expect me to rub her belly. And it's like, okay. And so I'll rub her belly, and it's like, okay. And then she'll nip at me like, that's enough. Fuck off now. It's like, what, dog? What do you want from me? I don't know.
See, Vice has it right. Those are not dogs. Those are pocket sausages. Those are something very different. Yeah, little dogs. See, little dogs, for all intents and purposes, are cats, but all the worst part of cats. Most little dogs are awful. I'm not gonna lie. You got to get the medium or the big dogs. And I'd say this is someone that's had,
I'd say the best dog is a pit bull.
They're really good.
They are just the most chill, relaxed, affectionate dogs. Like, you can lift one and carry them and just do whatever you want with them. They're awesome.
Yep, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And there's a bunch of shepherds that are really, really good. I have a Schnauzer. I would not recommend a Schnauzer to anyone. I just happen to have the most super chill Schnauzer ever made because he's a little touched in the head. He's brain damaged. So if you can get yourself a good brain damaged Schnauzer, yes.
See,
German Shepherd's another really good one. Not gonna lie, German Shepherds are awesome dogs. They are super fun. They're ready to do whatever you want to do, dude. They're ready.
German Shepherds and a Husky, but I know both of them require, like, Huskies require a lot of activity.
And Huskies are so talkative. God, they're loud. Oh, I'm not a fan of Huskies. Huskies are a little too intense. German Shepherds know how to chill.
They need to be trained, though. You got to be careful with a German Shepherd. They have to be actually trained.
Yes. You've got to keep. They're like a kid. You can't just free range them and hope that they're going to show up or turn out okay.
Like, I've had one dog when I was like, I don't remember how. I was like just born, a year old, and we got my first dog, which was a chocolate lab mix. And that dog, we just kind of free ranged, and it became the best dog in the world. Like, if you went on a walk, you didn't need a leash. And as a kid, I didn't realize this, but whenever she would want out, we just opened the door into the front yard that had no fence, and she'd stay in the yard, like, no training, no watching, and then she'd bark when she'd want to come back in.
Yep.
And I miss that dog.
That's a good dog. Yep. That is a very good dog. So, and yeah, Vice says any big dog should be trained. Absolutely. And any little dog should be trained. I think that little dogs get a free ride for being vicious little fuckers. That if they had extra 50 pounds behind them, people would be like, oh, they're terrible. Like pit bulls. Like there's some bad not gonna lie, there are bad pit bulls out there, usually trained by their people or like bred in a very bad way so that it's bringing out all their worst traits. And people are like, pit bull, dangerous animal. Most Chihuahuas are fucking vicious little bastards. But because they're a Chihuahua, everybody's like, oh, I want a Chihuahua. They're adorable. No, they're not. They're vicious. They're vicious rats.
And they just shake.
They're ravagers. They're little, ugh.
So what our takeaway is, cats are better.
See, I'm honestly like in between.
No.
I love both of them.
Yeah.
I would love to have both. Like both are great.
I love dogs. I love cats. I agree, but I really love dogs and cats. I just have never had a really like love. I've had one. I take that back. I had one, and he died prematurely. He had a heart condition and keeled over in front of me. It was really horrible. That was a great cat. He was a dude. So I understand there are cats that are definite dudes.
I love you too, Wise.
So anyway, Wise is not the only one in the chat, by the way. We've got Miles Thompson in here, AC Wraith, got Wallace is in here finally. Okay. So let's talk about some games, people.
The only stuff I've played this week is I finally beat Ratchet and Clank.
Oh,
and
okay.
Cool.
It was fun. It's not like groundbreaking or anything, but the first time I played through it, it took probably 12 to 14 hours to beat. And then there's a challenge mode, which is basically a new game plus where you get all your weapons. Mm-hmm. So when you're playing the game, your weapons level up to level 5. So very early on, you use the best weapons that you get, and they level really quickly because they're good. But as you get to the end of the game and things are getting harder, you're using the crappier weapons that you put off using, and so it's extra hard. And
because you're trying to level them up.
Yeah, because you don't want to waste experience. The first playthrough, you don't really notice that, but it did cause challenges. And when I went back and played the challenge mode or New Game Plus, all the weapons get to level again, assuming you got the right collectible and you unlock it. And so I'm going through the second playthrough, and I got to about where I started from last time I finished the game, which was like 1 or 2 stages away in like 2 hours, because I was just using the best weapons and annihilating everything immediately, and it was so much fun. I was enjoying it immensely, but I realized that the game was super short if you're skipping cutscenes. You don't need to go out of your way to go find every little nook and cranny, and you're just destroying everything.
Just speedrunning it.
Yeah, but not intentionally. You're insanely overpowered, but you don't notice that because when you're getting to the later stuff, you're using the crappier weapons in the first playthrough. But yes.
So yeah, you finally finished it up. How much did you pay for it?
Like $3.
Oh, worth the price.
It came out on PS4. It's PS4 exclusive. It came out in 2016, and at the time, I didn't really have money for it anyways. And I would not recommend this game at $60 unless you're a diehard fan. But at $3, it was fantastic. And the next time it goes on sale, it should be that again with the new one coming out with PS5.
Yeah,
I recommend playing it if you want something fun. If you like that kind of game, if you know who you are. If you like this kind of game, like you're not going to be like, never played anything like this, and not know if you're going to like it beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of almost genre defining. So this is a genre, and this is the game that did it. So if you like this genre of game, this is the mothership.
I did watch a YouTuber who goes by No Punctuation. I don't know if you've ever seen any of his videos.
Oh, yes.
Zero punctuation?
Zero punctuation,
yeah.
Okay,
he did a review of Ratchet and Clank, and he made a good point, which was this is kind of a reboot, but if you like the game, you're kind of screwed. Like, you can't go back and play the old ones, even though there's a lot of love for that in this game. Mm-hmm. And so, like, the last 8 games, it's not backwards compatible. They're nowhere to be found or remade. Oh, that guy. Oh, poor person. But I had to agree with that. Like, I wish they would come out with a definitive pack for the old games, just like a remake of the old PS2 stuff and PS3.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when you were talking about this last week, I was looking for that, and the fact that they don't have it is so weird because it's such a popular franchise and such a big part of the PlayStation identity. Mm-hmm. I'm really shocked that they haven't done a remake.
Well, mascot-esque characters kind of fell out of style somewhere in the 2012 to like 2018, where just no system was really making cute animal mascots anymore like they used to. So back in 2016, when it started getting popular again, or they took their try on this, I mean, I think that's why there hasn't been one. There just wasn't a market for it.
They think there isn't.
Yes, they think there isn't. They did release a movie with this game that I haven't watched, and I don't plan to because apparently it was horrible.
That's right. I remember that.
It was supposed to be a tie-in, and they're doing this whole like cross, not platform, but like media. Oh, we lost Edie. But yeah,
The cross media thing. I remember that movie. I vaguely remember it just kind of coming and going. I think it actually got a theatrical release.
Yeah, no, it just flopped. Like no one cared.
It was like boom and out before anyone even realized it. Like I think Angry Birds was in theaters longer than it.
Yeah, no, I mean it did not take. I think it was. I haven't watched it, but from my understanding, it was poorly written, and the game was just better in all aspects.
Yeah.
And wise, the way I describe it is just a platformer shooter, like arcade shooter. You get a bunch of crazy weapons, and that's kind of the pull to it. It's just all these kind of futuristic, wacky gadgets, like a shotgun that turns enemies into pixels, or the Sheepinator, which is a fantastic weapon. It turns people into sheep, and then if you keep using it on the sheep explode. It eventually becomes the Goatinator, which does the same thing, but turns them into goats that attack other units, other enemies. Yeah. And then League of Legends. Outside of that, I've been getting into that, unfortunately.
Why do you say unfortunately?
No one should get into League of Legends. It's not something you want to happen. It's just something that does. Your friends pull you in, and then it's like drugs.
So are you addicted, or you're just kind of dabbling?
I'm dabbling. I'm getting there though. Like I'm looking at new champs, and I'm like, I want to try that, and that's the start to the rabbit hole. When you're like, I want to learn that new character, then you realize you have a problem.
Yep, that moment when you go online to look up something to make you play better.
I've been doing that all week. I hate myself.
Why are you doing that?
It's not a choice, okay? That's why I said unfortunately. My current characters of choice is a character named Poppy. She's in the game called a Yordle, which is like a small person, and she has a gigantic hammer. She's a lot of fun. And then I ended up choosing a new character set, which is it's been described to me as a fuckboy. That is his design. He is a person who never thinks he's gonna lose. He's kind of a boxer brawler, but he has like an overcoat on that just shows his abs and like no actual shirt on.
What's his name?
Set. S-E-T-T.
I'm looking this up.
His artwork. Go ahead.
Did you buy those characters, or were they the free ones? Because I know they have like a rotation of free characters.
Yeah, so they have like 14 characters or more. I forget the exact number every 2 weeks that rotate. So if you want to try them, they're free. But you also gain in-game currency that if you get enough of it, you can unlock those characters for free. So you can unlock every character for free if you worked hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find like a picture of Set, not just gameplay, but
AC Wraith put a link in the chat.
I don't know that I can get to links. Yeah, I can't get to links that are put in chat, unfortunately.
You can copy paste though, can't you?
I can't.
Oh.
Nope.
That's weird.
Does not work for me. But I got gameplay of Set.
Here, I just Googled it. Mind if I share my screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. There's a light in front of the top of my bar, which is why I'm sitting here crouched over. Can you see it?
Not what you intended to
just
he's hot. Woo! Look at those abs.
Oh shit. Okay, let's try that again.
I can see him. I've got the video going.
All right, then you share your freaking screen.
There we go.
Wait. Third time's the charm.
There we go. Oh yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's a pretty good description, to be honest.
EC Wraith, geez, come on. I just got Twitch. We just got on Twitch. Cut me a little slack here.
Hey, you did make a GameHounds Discord. That is the next step.
Discord.
That's
we
the
have
next step if you want to grow the community.
I believe we do.
Wow.
It's just me and you and Edie right now.
Hey, if you want to turn the GameHounds Discord into a thing, knock yourself out.
Kind of do.
Yeah.
We have that PlayStation community, but this way we can bring everyone together.
That's true. All right. Well, your wish is my command. I am born to carry your burdens.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. I feel like I'm gonna go down a league rabbit hole, and if I don't come back, I'm sorry.
I hope you don't. So, any other games you got, Nick? I mean, you know what I'm playing. I'm playing ESO. I'm playing it exclusively at this point. I am full into the ESO addiction.
Yeah,
I have absolutely, talk about a rabbit hole. I have absolutely fallen down that rabbit hole. I got, man, I don't want to say this because I know what's going to happen with Corey. I know what's going to happen, but I bought ESO Plus today. I did it this morning, just for 1 month. That's all I'm going to buy.
Just for 1 month.
But immediately my game got so much better. The whole thing with ESO, how they get you is storage space. Immediately I have almost 100 spaces empty now in my bag. I'm collecting. I can pick up resources and I have places to put them. My bank is now 300 spaces. It immediately made everything better. I don't care about the horse armor. I don't care about the costumes.
How you are a little bit that much space?
You'll get there. If you play more, you'll get there.
Because you haven't done any crafting, Nick. You haven't done any crafting. Every time you pick up a piece of equipment, you just break it down. What do you do with all of the stuff that you get? Do you sell it?
Put in the bank. Put in the bank. And just amass it.
Right. But
because if I ever do get into crafting, I will have this, bank of material that I could get into.
Right. And you're level what?
34? No, yeah, 33.
33. It starts to get bad because every time that you go up levels, then you start collecting different gear, different materials that are for your level. So what starts out, you only got a few, these scraps for cloth, and then you break the cloth down and then you're good. And then all of a sudden you're into ancestor silk and ruby wood, and it adds up. And you're also not saving food. That's the thing that kills you, is provisioning. No. Provisioning is the biggest space hog in that fucking game.
Nope. See, I'm playing this game like I play Elder Scrolls in general, which is just fucking merciless, mercenary, the kind of wandering traveler who's like, well, I've got a backpack and that's where my life is, and that's it. Like
you're a Ronin. You're just traveling around.
And I like being the idea that hearing, crafting gets all this complicated. That makes me think, well, I'll just go to my bank and sell everything that I have then, because I'll just never get into it.
You probably should.
Because I don't want to get into something like that.
Yeah, it is. That is a rabbit hole inside of a rabbit hole, is the crafting thing. But when you get higher level, it becomes an issue of crafting, especially fucking provisioning, I hate to say, is kind of not essential for you to have it. You just have to, if you aren't provisioning for yourself, either have a friend who's provisioning, like this one right here, or you have to make a lot of money so that you can buy materials, buy crafted materials.
Hang on, I gotta go check on the
troublemaker. Of course, Jupiter is peeing on something.
I like how just a moment ago you're like, I've sworn to carry your burdens, and now you're immediately like, Nick, I will carry your burdens in ESO.
It doesn't mean I'm not going to gripe when I do it. I am. I'm sworn to carry his burdens. I am the ultimate Lydia. I am going to carry your burdens, and I am going to gripe about it the whole time.
She is the entire reason that game's been remastered 4 times.
He will say, I told you so because you're overburdened. Yeah, well, I mean, now I'm not, because I just bought 1 month of ESO.
Wallace also recommends.
Immediately my life got better. There's very few things that you could spend money on where it's like instantaneous. You're like, oh.
Okay, but my argument for that is a shitty thing to do. To limit inventory spaces behind a paywall.
Yeah,
I think you are lesser of a company.
It absolutely is true. Absolutely. And that is the driver of ESO. That is the number one driver of why people spend $15 a month. And you know what? I'm going to say I wasn't interested in spending the $14.99 for this until Peter, who we've been playing with, who's also a listener of the show, said, so, 50 cents a day, it's really not that big a deal. I was like, no. God damn it. It is only 50 fucking cents a day. 2 quarters a day. That was how he was the one that
you get your Netflix subscription, you get your PlayStation Plus subscription, and I just want to
turn this into the Jupiter cast, because he just takes over the show.
And I want to throw a shout out to AC Wraith for linking Lydia's Wikipedia page in chat.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is commitment.
Yep. AC limiting inventory is common in MMO practice. It's a common practice.
It is such a quality of life thing that they know that you will pay for that shit if you want it.
Yep. It is the stress. It is the pressure that is in the back of your brainstem the whole time of going, fuck, I don't have that much space. God, can I do?
See, this is why you just don't get into
what they're doing. Or worse yet, you're in the middle of it and I have to look at Nick and go, hold on a second, let me pull up my merchant so I can sell shit. And they're like, why do you have so much shit on you?
I don't have that much shit on me. I go through multiple dungeons with you guys and I'm like, oh, am I full? No, I've got 60 out of 90 spaces. Yeah, I'm good. Let's go to a couple more dungeons.
Fuck. You will feel my pain. I guarantee you will feel my pain sometime soon.
No, I won't. So this is not the way I play.
We will get more into it because I want to share my experience with Tennocon, which I tried to get you to watch when it was happening.
You made an effort. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, nice try. Like golf clap. Like, oh.
It was actually awesome, and I'll get more into that. But I just want to say
talk about
that
it in the news, because that's on the news to do.
On the 25th, when they do their update, they're gonna redo the tutorial, the opening part of the game. So if we're going to do that, which we are, it's not a question of if, it's when.
All right.
That is a good time to do it, because it's going to be a new tutorial. I have no idea what it's like, and you get to experience a better version of what the start is.
It's kind of like when Nick said, "Now is the time you still want to start watching." What is the D&D show?
Critical Role.
Critical Role. Now is the time you want to start Critical Role because they're starting over with a new campaign. And I started watching Critical Role that week, and it was like the greatest thing ever for about 6 months for me. It was my life.
Yeah, and you can't keep up with that shit.
Yeah, and
you get
great.
behind. You get
and
behind on Critical Role,
and then you're like, "Yeah, I'm too far behind now."
I still watch that. I mean, I'm not up to the recent one, but I still keep up with that shit.
I have like 80 episodes at like 4 hours a piece.
Right. And I was watching not only the 80 episodes, then I went back and started listening to, because I couldn't, I was up to date on the current campaign, that I started watching the old campaign and was quite a ways into the old campaign. So yeah.
The person Sam, I forget his full name. He does ad spots for the show, and I ended up just sitting down one afternoon, like watching a supercut of his ad spots, and they are amazing.
Yeah, Sam's awesome.
They're continually amazing, even now.
Yeah. When we grow up, we all want to be one of them. Every single one of them is just an absolute keeper.
Yeah.
So, any other games?
Other than ESO, just more Ghost of Tsushima. I'm still really enjoying that game.
I want to play it so bad.
I've heard, and I'm experiencing this. The power curve feels kind of broken because I'm in the first area, but I'm going through and getting so many of the upgrades already. But it feels like, and other people have said, "Oh, you just want to move on. Like, just move on, do the story missions, and continue there." But for me, I like exploring the world and doing all of the side things. And so I'm still in that first area.
You're playing Ghost of Tsushima the way you're playing Elder Scrolls.
Yes, I'm playing it like I play games.
Right.
Which is just, complete an area. And so I'm still really enjoying it too. The quests are just very well done in that every quest has a fairly substantial amount of story and character behind it, so that every time I do find a new little thing out in the world, I want to play it. I want to see what happens, and I want to just see that little story play out. Save this little village from the Mongols. I'm still enjoying the combat, and I'm glad that even though I've gotten a bunch of upgrades, there are still moments where I get overwhelmed and die. And I like that because it's still presenting a challenge to me. Because it has that right balance, like I said last week, of if I fuck up, I can die very quickly. But if I do everything right, I can kill them very quickly. And so it's that balance, I think, that still exists. Even though I've gotten a lot stronger, my health, got more stances to use with different people. I think at a certain point, if I get too powerful, I might just up the difficulty to hard just to make sure that I'm still risking my life. But so far, medium is presenting a good challenge. And yeah, it's just a fun world to be in. Like, I don't have... One of the reasons I'm not just progressing through the story is because I like just riding my horse around this world and just following the wind and following the random bird to see where it takes me. It's just a nice, pleasant world to be in. Mongol horde aside, it's just a nice place to be in. And so I'll put on a podcast and just listen to that while riding through and collecting collectibles. And yeah, it's just a real good time. I'm enjoying it.
It is such a beautiful looking game. It's such a beautiful game that I want to play it just because it looks so good. Every time that you have brought it up on the show, and that I've gone and found video of it and watched it, I'm like, why am I not playing this game?
Because you're addicted to the other one.
Yeah, because it looks so amazing, and I just can tell that this would be something I would really enjoy.
It's It's one of those games, you know, an open world game that's filled with side quests and collectibles that you just kind of do and you can get lost in.
And I love this world. The whole the not only the fact what it is as far as a game, but also the setting, the artwork. It's just so the mechanics look just so fun to play.
The mechanics in a lot of ways are like those early Assassin's Creed games. And so for me, this is the Japanese Assassin's Creed game that we've never gotten from Ubisoft, that people have been asking for since Assassin's Creed 2, but they just haven't done it. And this is finally that. And it's like, yes, that's
Dark
what
Souls,
I want.
Assassin's Creed.
Right.
It's not even it's not really
the
Dark
best
Souls,
parts
though.
of Assassin's Creed without all of this, you know, pointless kind of going into this. What is it? I forget the name of the
Animus.
Animus.
Right? Going into the Animus and all that other.
Animus was the best part.
The Animus, the meta story
part of those early games
was good. I enjoyed
it in the early days, and now it's not. It's kind of lost its way in that.
Yeah, it has. It was fucking
back when it was
good.
Desmond,
and then they fucked it up.
It was Desmond, right?
It was Desmond. They fucked up the story so much.
Right, they did fuck up the story.
I have a deal for you. How about we go half in on it? Both of us. Basically, I'll PayPal you like $30 and buy it, and we both get it.
All right.
Okay.
Wait, how are you gonna play it?
Thing.
Yeah.
Oh, we have like a share PlayStation thing. Is it like one of those the screen share?
It's not entirely legal.
It is legal.
Is it legal?
Yeah, no. She's just essentially the primary on my console. So
and he's the primary on my console.
Okay.
Actually, I'm not. Imhawk is, I think, still.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay.
Wasn't there some system where someone could take over the game on your console and play?
Yeah, SharePlay.
Yes, there's SharePlay. That's still around.
That's what it's called. SharePlay.
Right,
that is not a game.
I have to play it and then let him take over. It's kind of like share screen on, like not just share screen, but share screen then take over on a Zoom conference. That's the same thing, but it's not really there is lag. You both have to be on. No, this is a way for if I purchase something that Andrew can.
Yeah, this is just doing the primary secondary account.
Basically, Edie pitied me when I didn't have a job, and she let me take all of her games because she pitied me, and it was good.
Yeah, it worked out well.
You are not the only person that does that. I've listened to podcasts
and you shared
about people
stuff to
doing
me
that
too. You've had games that you purchased that I pulled down for you.
Yeah, but yeah, I figured that since we're both kind of on the fence, like I'm a little worried about it being too expensive right now just because of bills, and you do want to play it, but I don't think you want to pay full price, like $60 for it.
Yeah.
Figure if we go in half, that might be a good deal.
Especially since I just spent $15 on ESO.
And once you get on Warframe, you get hooked.
Yeah.
You still gotta buy Remnant from the Ashes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many games to buy.
Yeah.
They never end.
And then we gotta get Fall Guys when that comes out.
That's gonna be free.
Yes, but it's another game to play. That's not ESO.
Yeah. I don't know. It's not technically free. It costs you $60 a year.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, AC Ray said I should probably do Steam family sharing with someone. Yes, you should. It's there for a reason. And I don't think enough people take advantage of these things. So, but maybe that's one of the reasons why they're still allowing it. It's because not a lot of people do take advantage of it.
That's true.
Yeah, and you have to really trust that person because that person has control of your console, accesses everything.
Oh, with Steam, the Steam family sharing plan is meant for one computer. Like you can have it so that someone else downloads your Steam account basically and gets that on Steam. Sorry, downloads Steam and then uses your account, and then it works pretty much exactly like PlayStation does, where you can play their games. However, if someone's playing one of your games, it locks you out of your account like you can't be playing while they're playing.
Mm-hmm.
Since so if you had one computer, that's not a problem. Like if someone else is on it, obviously you can't be playing at the same time. But when you're doing two computers, it gets a little touchy.
Yeah, whereas PlayStation, that's not an issue.
No.
People can play the same game. Thank you, Sony. Thank you. Thank you. You've made games, you kept games accessible to people that with...
Oh, yeah. It's not illegal because they've pretty much said do this. Like, if you have a friend that you want to share games with, do this.
Just fingers crossed they keep it for the next one.
So, or that you never fall out with each other.
Edie, that'll never happen.
No, it will never happen. I will never do that.
It's been a decade.
It's at this point.
Yeah.
So anything else we want to talk about before we hit the news?
One thing I did get into that I wasn't expecting. On a whim, I watched this esports tournament for Rainbow Six. I was just on the YouTube app on the TV, and in the recommended, it was like, day 3 of this, Rainbow Six tournament. I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. And I started watching it. And then at a point I was like, well, this is day 3. So I went to the channel and I looked, okay, give me a recap of day 1, which is like 5 minutes long. Give me a recap of day 2, which is like 5 minutes long. And then I thought, okay, now I can go into day 3, knowing the story of this competition, what teams were favored, what teams were doing well, what teams were doing bad. And so there were like 2 videos that were basically for the the lower tier and then the grand finals. And I just was watching that and got into it. This is fun to watch.
Rainbow Six is a fun game.
It's a fun game to watch too, even though I often can't follow along exactly what is happening because I don't know the maps, I don't know the characters, and the camera jumps between people so often. But the more I watched, the more I kind of got accustomed to that. I realized the person that you are seeing, their name is highlighted on the side of the screen. So Team A is on the left, Team B is on the right. And their name will be sort of big if that's the person you're looking at. In this video, you can see on like the left or right side, one of the names will be highlighted. And so that helps, when when the screen jumps to a view to know, oh, am I looking at blue team or orange team? This helps. Eventually, I also realized that when you're seeing it from a player's point of view, you see outlines of the other people on the screen. The player can't see that. No. That is just something for the audience. And so that led to some really fun moments of like 2 guys on other sides of a door. One guy's like coming up to a hallway and another guy's right here waiting. And you can see them because you're watching from their point of view, and I can see the outline of the other person on the screen. And knowing that the player can't, it's like, oh, some shit's going to happen. What's going to happen? And so, slowly piecing together what the visual language of the esports is and what the game is expressing through its icons, through its UI and all that. At the end of like the 3-hour video for the finals, I was like, this is actually cool. Well, try to watch some more of this just as like a fun diversion. I don't think I'll ever play this game because, man, it looks complicated and like people go down in seconds. Like you get shot twice and you are just down. But that's kind of what makes it interesting, is watching people, watch a single pixel point for a head to pop out. And when it pops out, they just unload and someone's dead. And it's like, it's the fact that a match, because you go down so quickly, a match can turn in seconds. And so the games are always attack and defend. You have a bomb that you're protecting. Attacker team has to go in and like disarm the bomb or blow something up. It's that game mode. Oftentimes what happened is the attacking team would kind of probe and use little drones to spot where things are and just sort of test the waters. Each round is like 2 minutes. They test up until like a minute 30, a minute 40, and then the last 20 seconds of the round is the push in, where all of a sudden it's just an intense firefight, and one team wins, one team loses, and that's exciting. And so yeah, I was like, this is actually cool to watch. I'll have to watch more of it. And I think what I do like about that channel, which was just Rainbow Six Esports, that's the name of the YouTube channel, is that they had a bunch of different tournaments, but they did offer those recap videos, because the idea of watching, several 3-hour videos for the whole tournament is like, I don't want to do that, but give me a recap of day 1, a recap of day 2, and then just like a 3-hour grand final tournament. I'll totally do that. That's a time investment that at this early stage of my interest, I'm willing to invest in. And so I like that they provide those recaps in that way. I think that's really handy for someone just joining in.
And for a viewer, for spectating, they have a lot of really cool tools. Like, again, this over the top view of the map that makes it kind of look like a little ant hill sort of thing, or like you're looking at a blueprint. So I've put quite a bit of time into this game. I've put like 350 hours.
Ooh.
Which is not as much as you would think, and I'm still trash. I am terrible trash. But you are right. It is complicated, and the biggest thing is map knowledge. Knowing where everything is, where people sit, and this is on a level that I will never get to, by the way, on esports. Just no, this is next level stuff. But even when you're playing just for fun, learning the maps is the hard part. Knowing where to reinforce and all of that, and not seeming like a complete noob. And yeah, like you said, you die so quickly. The idea of getting shot once in the head. There's one character named Blackbeard who has a shield that you put on your gun, and it protects you. It can take 2 bullets, and it protects your face. And everyone hates him because he can take a headshot without dying, and you're considered a garbage person for running him. I actually got kicked because I chose him.
Aw. Yeah, I think some of the moments that were really cool had to do with that map knowledge, where someone would be above and someone below would take a piece of C4, throw it up, blow it up, and then kill 2 people because they knew where they were up there. It's like, oh. In some moments, someone would shoot up, miss, and then someone would shoot down, and you get into this, almost John Wick style firefight where they're shooting face off, where they're shooting through the floor at each other, backing off, going to the next hallway over to try to shoot down a different angle and not quite getting it. And it's like that scene in Face Off where they both run, shoot through the wall and miss. And the destructibility leads to some cool moments like that.
Because mechanically it's a shooter. You know how to play shooters, at least. Whether or not you're good at it is entirely a different question. But, you aim and you pull the trigger. But knowing where people are, knowing where to push, if you know someone's behind this wall, but there's only one doorway to go through, but if you run around the other side of the map, you can throw an impact nade and make a hole and go through that and get behind them, or at least surprise them for a second. Mm-hmm. It gets really fun.
I think the announcers were good too, because they helped explain some things in the moment, and they're good even when the action is moving so fast that I can't quite keep up with it. The way that they summed it up, it was like, okay, this is what happened. I get it. I get it. That's it. So yeah, I think there's something about that channel in particular that was good, and it actually made me think, I wonder what other game I'd look for an esports thing. Maybe there's a Valorant thing, just because I haven't seen much of that. And I
find myself when I'll go onto Twitch sometimes just because I'm bored, and there'll be a Tekken or a Street Fighter tournament going on.
Fighting games are always the best for that.
I don't know much about fighting, and I've learned some terms from just watching this, but I'll just click on it and then I'll be staring at it for 30 minutes because I'm just yes. And how I decide who I want to win, because it's important in a competition to have somebody you want to win, is whoever was losing first. I want the person who was losing first.
You're going to go for the underdog always, huh?
Yeah, that's immediately who I'm you can come back. You could do this. I don't know who you are. I'm never going to know you again, but I want you to win.
That is actually, that's very important because, like I said about the recaps, I started watching the grand final video, and it was just like, okay, those are two teams. They're fighting each other. Okay. And then when I went back to watch the recap, what I realized is, okay, there was this team called Wildcard, and they had won every match that they were in. And in like day 1 or something, they beat this team called Okami. And so Okami had to go down to the lower bracket to fight the way back up. Okami ended up winning in the lower brackets, and so the grand final was Wildcard versus Okami again. And so knowing that history of, the team that lost is now back in the competition, fighting the team that beat them before that is now undefeated. It's like, okay, there's a rivalry here. This is cool. There's a story behind it. I like this. And then it also helped that the grand final match actually went up to like tiebreaker and then over tiebreaker. And it's like, okay, it all literally, this is the one match. Whoever wins this wins completely.
Right.
That's a nice story. That is a good classic. Like,
those are the kinds of stories that get people watching and keep people watching.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course, I'm sure you're rooting for Okami, right? Like,
I was like, once I realized, they're back. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, come on, guys, you can do it.
Like, you know nothing about them. They could be terrible people, but they were losing when you started, so you want them to win.
All right. So, anything else?
I spent
before we
played a couple of games, watched some Rainbow Six.
Yep. All right. So, anything else? AC Ray says try speedrunning tournaments.
They're fun too. Seeing some people do some crazy things.
Mm-hmm.
I just really wish Twitch had an app on Roku because they don't, and that's why I watch
they
most
had it
of
on
the stuff.
Yeah, I wish I had it on my smart TV on my.
What is it? Like it's kind of a hassle to have to load up the PlayStation and then load into it the Twitch app. It's just an extra step that disincentivizes me.
Or if it has the app on like a smart TV or Roku, just streamcasting it from your phone. Like if you were watching something or looking at your phone, you're like, okay, I'm interested. Hit a button.
There's not a really good, for at least Samsung TVs. There's not a really good option for that streamcasting.
Chromecast should be good. You just plug that into the TV.
Yeah, I just have to get a Chromecast. I don't know.
Okay, I've got 2, so.
All right, well, share the love, bitch.
Yeah, I'll give you an old one. It's like in a bag under my desk.
Fine.
Talking.
The only thing I do have, what was the one? Was it Valve did some kind of television streaming platform and then they discontinued it?
They had the little
Steam had like a Steam box.
Yeah, well, you could stream from your PC to your TV.
Yeah, I have one of those because then when they discontinued them, they were just dirt cheap. They were like $5, and so I bought one.
It worked well enough for me. Like it was fine. My internet connection wasn't good enough for it, but unfortunately, you could only play Steam Big Picture through that. Like you couldn't just access your computer in general.
Right. All right, so shall we hit the news, gentlemen? All right, let's do it. Let's hit the news. This is the GameHounds news, the news and commentary of the week in gaming with Gamer Edie, Nick DiNicola, and Andrew Smith. And our first item is...
I heard there was something going on with Warframe.
Oh, yes. Okay, I guess we'll jump into that.
Sure, let's do it.
So yes, they had Tennocon this year, which is like BlizzardCon or any other convention, but solely for Warframe. Mm-hmm. And when they have these cons, they unveil their new content that they're working on. Normally, it's months ahead of its release, but this time, because I think Tennocon got pushed back, it is now 3 weeks from this new big patch. And
really,
yes, they're making some drastic changes to the game, mechanically speaking. So normally your Warframe has a set of powers, right? That's actually what just popped up is the new Warframe. Raku? I think that's the name. I'm probably wrong, but I think it's Raku. And it is essentially a void, which is an energy type in the game. It's kind of like the mystical energy of the game. that is holding together 3 destroyed warframes, like just different parts of it.
I thought you were going to say like 3 kids, so it's like the equivalent of 3 kids in a trench coat.
It kind of is, but yeah, that's the new warframe, and it was completely community made. Like they basically put it out to the community. Hey, give us ideas for a warframe. Whatever wins, we'll design it and we'll make it.
That's
and
cool.
This is what they chose with, or they ended up with, which is a warframe that's like I'm saying, it's 3 different warframes put together. It has its own abilities and such, but just visually, it's really cool. When you dash, your warframe breaks apart and it comes back together where you dash to, stuff like that. You can explode all your parts and run around as just your little skeleton, which is happening on screen, which gives you a variety of buffs. But yeah, that's the new warframe that's going to be coming out, and it's kind of awesome looking. They are getting really good with their design.
I do like the skeleton look. That's
Zaku.
That's unique.
I think I was thinking of Roku.
Yeah.
That was stuck in my head.
So this is a community-made warframe?
Yes, like it's the one that won the competition to see what the next warframe was. And yeah, they went through and they did the artwork and stuff, and they designed it for its look. But the idea behind it is completely from the community. And it didn't turn out horrible like Bodie McBoatface. Or, the all beef.
Well, that's because the community didn't choose the name. You let them choose the name.
Yeah, I imagine there were some pretty bad ones out there. But like this one, you can steal the enemy's weapons, and it'll be floating, and it'll be shooting people, stuff like that. Going over the powers is super. Nova was community made. I didn't know that. I thought this was the first. But yes. Anyways, normally when you have a warframe, you have 4 abilities. Each varying in energy use, 25, 50, 75, and 100. The last one being kind of an ultimate. And those are your warframe's powers. Well, they have added a new system that lets you change one of the powers for a generic Helmuth power, which is an infested power. So you can now kind of customize what you have. Or you can sacrifice a warframe and you'll get one of their abilities permanently. That warframe will be destroyed, but you can now put that one ability onto any warframe. And the one that's chosen isn't their signature, so it's not like their strongest ability, but you can now kind of mix and match powers on warframe. And that is pretty huge. Like that is a risk with just that they're taking.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
The second half to that was one of the bigger things. The second big thing is they have open world environments. They have one for 2 of their enemy types. The Corpus, which is kind of like capitalist people, capitalist space force. They pretty much worship money. And then the Grineer, which are like cloned armies. And kind of a militaristic enemy type. And they have open worlds for them. Well, they're coming out with a 3rd one, a brand new planet, essentially, that's all about the infestation. And it's essentially, the infestation is any kind of like sentient hive mind that takes over people and beings. If you've played Halo, it's essentially the Flood. But they've come out with like new enemy types. The entire map's obviously new. And a lot of new story content behind like the warframes, their powers and stuff like that. And that's going to be fun to explore.
Is that what we're looking at now?
Yes, this is the brand new planet, Deimos.
Mm-hmm.
And everything is that infested kind of organic environment, that kind of texture. And it's open. This is an open world area, and there's catacombs beneath this that are going to be procedurally generated that you go in for quests.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, this is the new stuff, and it's pretty big. It's really big. And mechanically, though, I find that the Warframe customization of powers is going to be huge. And with this is going to come, like I said, the new tutorial, new weapons, all sorts of jazz. But yeah. During the event, if you were in game in one of the relays, which are kind of like player hubs, If you were in a specific one, you could actually like follow along during the event, and they would put up character models of everything that you were seeing on screen.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, so you could get a really good look at them. And I didn't partake in that, but I had a friend who did, and they really enjoyed it. It was really cool.
Yeah.
They're trying to give you a new space mom, which I will not call her mother. I have one space mom, even though stuff has happened, and I'm not going to spoil it.
Okay.
Because, but yes, they're trying to push a new mom on me, and I'm not for it. I have one space mom. If you're a fan of Warframe, you know what I mean.
I have no idea what you're talking about. But from the sound of it, I will.
Yes, you will. As we're doing our 24-hour live stream.
I don't know if that's going to happen. AC Ray says, I was in one of the relays. Essentially, we got warped to rooms of animated statues.
Yeah.
And he also said you can't sacrifice primes, so people like me will have to build the old frames again.
Yeah, so they, as we were just describing with ESO, you kind of have to buy slots or inventory space for Warframes. So what ends up happening is you get the Warframe because you want to build them all regardless so that you can level them up and get like an experience called mastery points for them, which is the first time you get it up to rank 30. As you're ranking it up, you get points to a general level for your character, for your account. And so you kind of want to level all of the frames up before you delete them. But normally if they have a prime, you'd get the prime afterwards and you delete the old version. Mm-hmm. So, because you don't want to spend money on space you don't need if you already have like a better version of that character or that frame. So, and just like AC, I'm going to have to go back and build all those Warframes. So when you start playing, I have a reason to do that. As we're getting frames for you, I'll be getting them for myself again.
So, all right. So is that all the announcements that came out of Tennocon?
There was a lot to those, like in the games, but I think that's it for right now. I can't think of anything that was kind of in that last hour that was important, I guess. Like nothing that's too far in the future for them.
Okay. Nick, have you got anything?
Sure. I've got a small one.
All right.
In between some other big ones.
Why would you start with a small one then? Start with the big one.
Just because it's interesting.
You're designing this like a writer, not like a reporter. You start with the big news, the above the fold.
You bury the lead every time. Ubisoft and Netflix announced that they will be working on a Splinter Cell anime.
And it's going to be directed by the person who made John Wick.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. I got another one.
They say he's not directed. The Derek Kolstad, one of the creators of John Wick, is going to be on as a writer and executive producer. They haven't said what studio is actually going to be animating it, so we don't know if it's a Japanese studio, an American studio that's just mimicking an anime style, and we just don't know who's
what game is
animating it. Splinter Cell.
Splinter Cell.
But it's kind of a weird announcement considering how Splinter Cell has just kind of been like this IP of Ubisoft where they're like, maybe a cameo there, a cameo there. Are you going to make a new game? Nah. And it just seems like they keep testing the waters and then testing and then testing and then testing some more because like there's a Splinter Cell guy in Rainbow Six that they added to that.
The main character.
They keep putting him in other things.
They put him in that new like All-Stars Ubisoft game that they're coming out with.
I don't even know about that one.
Yeah, the one that has like all the Rainbow Six character or the Tom Clancy universe.
Yeah, that's right. The mobile cartoon shooty one.
Yeah, and like he's in that, and he was in the main trailer for it.
Yeah. So of all things, Splinter Cell, okay, getting an anime adaptation? Like, Splinter Cell and anime are not things that I immediately think about. It's just... But
and
to be fair...
Piggybacking off of that, it does seem interesting that they would be announcing a Splinter Cell anime at the same time that they announced a Beyond Good and Evil movie.
Did they really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, they didn't. That's a lie. That is such a lie.
That is true. Rob Letterman.
I have that one.
Rob Letterman, who directed the Detective Pikachu movie. He has been tapped already. He's been named as to direct a Beyond Good and Evil movie for Netflix.
You know how many directors have been attached to the Uncharted movie?
This has been reported by the Hollywood Reporter.
That's fine.
It's not a gaming thing. It has been reported by the Hollywood Reporter.
It's still never coming out.
It's going to be according to the press release and the information the Hollywood Reporter released. It's going to be a hybrid live action animated feature. It's going to be produced by Jason Altman and Margaret Boykin for Ubisoft Film and Television.
It would betray the spirit of Beyond Good and Evil to release something related to Beyond Good and Evil.
It would betray all the fans of Beyond Good and Evil to release a movie about Beyond Good and Evil before they release a next game for Beyond Good and Evil.
Never actually played it, so I don't know what it's like.
Oh, it's so good. The characters, I'm not going to lie, the characters are really awesome. Even though, I mean, thank God that they did a reskin of it for, what was it, the 360?
I think 360, yeah.
Yeah. Thank goodness they did it because the graphics do not hold up, but it is such a good game.
Yeah. And go into it like realizing
it's a really cool world.
Like a third-person action platformer game. It's one of from PS2.
It's the world that makes the game. It's as far as an action platformer, it's an action platformer. Does it hold up over time? All right, but it's the world and the story that it tells and the characters that make it so compelling. And actually, even that does hold up over time. So yeah, this is one of many things that Netflix has greenlighted recently when it comes to video games. They are trying very much to prove that you can make good video game movies and television.
I mean, I know you hated Witcher. I thought Witcher was...
You hated Witcher?
I didn't like Witcher.
What?
But no one in their right mind can deny that Castlevania is not the single best thing Netflix has ever produced.
Castlevania is fantastic.
Far and away, the single best thing.
Best anime for sure.
It's definitely top 3 for me.
No,
but yeah, there's Castlevania. There's The Witcher that they've already done. They announced the Splinter Cell anime series. Then they've also announced a Monster Hunter movie.
Yeah,
that's not Netflix though.
Isn't it?
No.
Okay. Well, anyway, it's been delayed. By the way, I don't know if you knew that.
Of course,
I know.
Jojovic, it's been delayed.
Like I said,
everything's going to be delayed till 2021.
I am very excited for Monster Hunter.
To be able to do the post.
I'm very excited for Monster Hunter because it's from the guy that made the Resident Evil movies.
Yeah,
and just pure B movie trash.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Actually, I enjoyed the first and second one where they were in Raccoon City. I thought those were pretty good.
Second one not so good. First one is pretty good. And when I say trash, they're good trash. It's basically the same movie repeated 6 times. But it's just fun to watch. B, Mila Jovovich is better than she has any right to be, and better than those movies ever deserved. But it's just a fun, goofy thing, especially as a Resident Evil fan, seeing how it adapts those monsters into its own formula is like, okay, this is dumb. I love this.
Yeah. By the way, I gotta back up a little bit with Bitter's comment. I gotta give it some certain props. Bitters writes in the chat, we will carry Edie's Warframe burdens. Thank you, Lydia.
Yeah, there's a lot of game movie stuff in the works, and I'm curious to see how much of it actually comes out.
Mila, she said that in the movie she's going to use twin blades. And if you haven't played Monster Hunter, you don't really know what that means. But the reason she gave was like, oh, because that's what I would play in the game. Like that's the one she would use in the game. So that's her weapon in the movie, which is fantastic.
And I think that's cool.
But Netflix is definitely spending a lot of money. Well, they lost the nerd market a little bit when they lost all of Daredevil and all of the different Marvel.
Those shows they started so well and then really floundered.
They did. So maybe not Daredevil, and Jessica Jones did not. But I think that it was probably in many ways a gift that they were unceremoniously taken from them before they could destroy them. But at the same time, we lost the opportunity to see if they redeemed things like not Iron Fist. Iron Fist was horrible. Iron Fist was
Second
horrible.
season of Iron Fist is
okay.
Good.
It's good. Okay, not good. But the second season of
Luke Cage.
I loved Luke Cage. I loved Luke Cage.
The second season was good, and then the last episode was one of the worst things I've ever had to
needed
sit
to
through.
Stop an episode or two before the end. Yes, it was. But Luke Cage, I just loved Luke Cage, but they lost when they had those properties taken away from them. They lost a big segment of the market to the nerd following. And they've obviously said, we have all of this nerd money to spend. Let's do our own stuff and do it with video game IPs, because all of the superhero IPs are all owned by Disney, and Disney doesn't want to give them away. They want to put them on Disney Plus. And that's why I don't buy Disney Plus. I will never buy Disney Plus.
I got Disney Plus.
Ever. I don't care what they put on there. They could make a Dragon Age movie, and I would not get Disney Plus for it. Ever.
I don't use Disney Plus, but I have it.
Nope.
I have it. I'm looking forward to all the superhero stuff, and they have generally.
You can tell me all about it, but I am not giving my money to Disney for that reason. And I say that as someone whose husband used to work for Disney.
I guess I enjoy those Netflix shows. But for me, the fact that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is like the best superhero thing on television is like,
I really have to watch it because I started watching it at the beginning.
Slow.
And it was so awful that I stopped. And then you kept on telling me it's so good.
It's really slow, but by season 3 is when they really hit their stride, and season 5 is so good because it's basically 3 mini arcs put together that kind of link into each other, and so it's just one thing happens, another thing happens, and it captures that spirit of a comic book issue ending on a cliffhanger. I've got to get the next issue, and ending on a cliffhanger throughout the season, and it's so good.
Okay, so is season 5 the travel one, the time travel one?
No, I think the season that I think made it.
So I got to the end of that one.
It was excellent. It was the one with Ghost Rider, life model decoys, and the virtual reality.
I do have an issue with that one, and that's only that I thought some of the stuff that happens in the later season with the virtual reality stuff lasted too long. I
guess I liked the whole S.H.I.E.L.D. has Nazis alternate reality.
But Edie, part of the reason with the first season that it's kind of not great is their hands were tied because it was before Winter Soldier came out. And when Winter Soldier came out, they had the whole thing where Hydra had basically invaded S.H.I.E.L.D. and they couldn't do anything crazy up until that point. But after that happens, the show's able to take on a life of its own and do its own thing with that storyline. And
sit through 3 seasons of something before.
That's halfway through the first season.
And that's one of those things where it's you wait 3 seasons and it gets really good. I think there's good stuff to be found throughout the show. Otherwise, I would have stopped watching it long ago. But I think it captures like I said, even at its worst in some of those early episodes, I think it still captures a fun sense of adventure. An adventure of the week type of show. There's not a lot of those on TV anymore, and I think it's a good one of those.
And why did you dislike The Witcher, Edie? I must know.
I just remember watching it with Kevin and saying it's supposed to be really good. Nick, in fact, that was where the whole meme in the house of Nick has terrible taste in movies. Nick was like saying, "Oh, it's so good." I'm like, "All right, I'm really excited." I'm telling Kevin, Witcher was such a good game, and I'm really excited to see this. And Nick says it's good. I loved The Witcher. This is going to be great. And it was like, the fuck?
It was good.
Yeah, right?
I mean, Nick does have terrible taste. The floor is lava is proof of that. But The Witcher, okay, the one issue I had with Witcher is they don't have like a lot of title cards or anything like that they put on the screen, and they jump around through different time periods that you like, so it makes it hard to follow if you don't realize that's what they're doing and you don't know they're doing that.
Right. If you are not a fan of The Witcher, it is absolutely impossible to figure out what's going on. Certainly in the first 3 episodes of which we watched, Kevin looked at me and he's like, "Do I have to watch another one? Please tell me I don't have to watch another episode of this before." And I'm like, "No," but I'm a little disappointed too. So
if you
Henry Cavill looks great, and then the fights are really cool. That's about the best I could say for what the reaction in this house.
And I do think, like, let's just take a moment to appreciate the fact that we can talk about a video game series and
actually have
people say, "Yeah, oh, I think it's great. Oh, I think it's awful," and actually have a debate about that instead of just like, "Oh yeah, the Mortal Kombat movie, it's not very good, but you know what? I grew up with that as a kid, and it always has a special place in my heart."
Yeah. And where it doesn't have to be a guilty pleasure.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, this isn't very good. The Assassin's Creed movie, oh, there's some images that look real good, but boy, that was kind of shit.
Anything by Uwe Boll, like, it's just
anything by Uwe. Oh, the fact that we grew up with Uwe Boll being the defining video game movie director.
He's the one who single-handedly made it a problem. Like,
he did. He's the reason. He is the problem.
So, yes, there's.
I have a soft spot for Henry Cavill. Listen, he's in my.
I have one of those too. Not gonna lie, and
look, I like Henry Cavill. That dude is like a fucking dork and a half.
Like he's our kind of people.
There was a video online of him building a gaming PC that went viral.
Yeah. And it should, because it's Henry fucking Cavill.
I was watching an interview with him, and when they announced the Witcher project, or he had heard about it, like maybe before they announced it publicly, he called the people like at Netflix. He's like, he called his agent. He's like, "Get them on the phone, tell them I want to play Geralt, like now." And he kept doing it, and they eventually called him, and they were like, "Listen, we don't even have a script. We don't have a director. We will get back to you." And he's like, "I want to be Geralt."
Yeah. And I think a lot of it, because I know Brie Larson, who's Miss Marvel in the Marvel movies, recently started a YouTube channel that's like her playing Animal Crossing. And she's stated before that she'd be really excited to play Samus in a Metroid movie.
Oh.
And this is just one of those moments where, like with comic book movies, we've starting to reach the point where the people who grew up with games are now old enough that they can create media based on those games that actually respect it to a degree because they like it. And we just haven't been there for decades. But now we're finally getting to that point where, people, celebrities and creators and directors and stuff who actually like this shit can make it. And it's like, okay,
right.
It took a long time for comic books to get to that point, and now video games are coming around to that. And
I think there's also a different part to that is that normally, like, being a nerd was kind of stigmatized for a while, like way back when. But now that it's not, and people are they've taken those chances and they've seen the responses to those movies, they realize that nerds get super excited about those movies, and you get a lot of engagement and essentially what amounts to free press for those movies because of that engagement and that excitement. Where if you just made another action movie, sure, people would go see it, it'd be cool, but there wouldn't be that level of commitment that there is with comics and games. Like, you are bringing other people to the table who are actively excited about those IPs.
Right.
And I think they're seeing that. And that's another thing that I think really drives that market.
Yeah.
And Netflix is recognizing that market is out there, and they had all this money that they were putting into the Marvel world to capture that market and to feed that market new material. And they realized that Disney they've got so many properties, they can't possibly service them all. And Netflix is like, you know what? You cannot make anything like nerd culture stuff while you're doing Pixar, while you're doing Disney movies, while you're doing all this other stuff. Your back is turned on this, and you're not going to let us have that. That's fine. We will find our own IPs. We will make these, and we will service those people for you.
Tell Disney's like, oh, you guys are making money? Pushes a ton of money and buys those IPs.
Right, and that's fine. That's okay, because then Disney will take them and not do anything with them, and then Netflix will go out and make some more. Just keep buying them. We'll make more.
Like, I know Netflix is trying to do that. I know the Umbrella Academy recently had their second season put out, and that's kind of one of their flagship superhero shows.
Yeah,
and it's really good.
It's okay.
Really good. I really like it.
Yeah, I thought the first season was okay. I haven't.
And The Boys
the second yet.
It's a fantastic.
That's Amazon Prime.
The Boys is so fucking good.
We can agree on that.
We agree on that.
We hardcore agree on that.
Yeah, you know what?
It's a sin how good that show is.
I would say The Boys is better than Castlevania. Now, you can fight me on that. That's fine. But The Boys, I actually liked way more than I liked Castlevania.
I mean, to be fair, The Boys is on Amazon, Castlevania's on Netflix. So
that's true. But
Castlevania still remains the best thing Netflix has ever made.
All right. Yeah. Okay. But I forgot that The Boys was Amazon. By the way, how the hell did they make that? That just came out of nowhere for Amazon.
I think they were like, man, what superhero comic book isn't taken right now? And they're like, oh, look, this one.
Right. But for like Nick said, for so long that a movie about a video game was poison within all of Hollywood, whether it be movie or television. And then for Amazon to have never done anything like that before and walk in and make something so fucking good.
Well,
my God, so fucking good.
Also,
the R-rated nature of it, I think, is what kept Disney away. Like, Disney couldn't make that in good faith. Like, the fact that Logan got made, or I guess that was Fox. Like, yeah, Deadpool and Logan
Fox.
were from Fox, and Logan only got made R-rated because of Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
I think no one wanted to take a chance on superhero R-rated stuff, and that's why they kind of blew the doors off. Not just because it's really well done, but just there's not a lot of dark superhero things, and that's a good one.
I have one of the most impressive things about that show is that the comic is not as good. The comic, in a lot of ways, is more exploitative and like shock for shock value's sake. But the show takes a lot of those core ideas, and
it goes further
presents
with
them in a way that's actually well done and interesting, and doesn't feel exploitative and dumb, but actually feels like an exploration of people with power and how it's abused and how it's corrupted and all that. The show is better than the comics, which is...
And I'm going to send a shout out to, and this might be a bit controversial to say, but I draw a direct line from The Boys back to what, in my opinion, the first of this genre did not get the love that I think it deserved, mostly because it was only sort of good. That was when Sony made Powers. You remember that show?
Oh yeah.
That was actually I watched the hell out of it. It was not a bad show. And even as I was watching The Boys, I'm like, God, this reminds me so much of Powers.
And that's partly because I think like it's that superhero taken to like what if it was just a common thing that
right? What if there were people with powers and people that weren't, and for whatever reason, and and also the power of celebrity, and I mean. I The Incredibles was somewhat of that kind of thing where people with powers, and then like what happens if people kind of end up resenting those people if it becomes a business, when you add powered people and business and capitalism. What is this weird?
I think it's pretty accurate. Like you would get terrible people with powers who are just like popular celebrities. Like that's what you'd get.
Right. Yeah, and Powers was very much like that.
Man, I totally forgot about that show.
It was kind of taking not just capitalism, but also social media. That's how you became kind of a popular power, is by manipulating like YouTube creators, except you were a YouTube creator with power. And if you were a YouTube creator with power that was popular, then you got contracts, and that made you money and made you wealthy. Very, very much like this thing that we're on right now, Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah.
And it was obviously not first-rate acting, obviously not first-rate casting. It was pretty good first-rate production. But it was, I think that show, had that show been made by Amazon Prime with their wealth of money or Netflix, it would have been a much better show. But B, it would have been very much more popular than what it was because it was out on Sony's platform. A lot of people just were like, I don't want to turn on my PlayStation 4 to watch a television show. If you had one, right.
And yeah, I think that was probably the biggest issue was Sony doesn't really make content like that, so it was kind of weird. This was their first shot at it.
Sony Motion Pictures is absolutely a thing, and this was their effort to try to move their motion picture production or their television production over to the console, and it kind of was a miss. It was like the
movies is completely separate, and when they tried to combine it, I think this was their first effort at making the PlayStation a video platform in addition to being a gaming platform. And
Powers was ahead of its time. Powers was absolutely ahead of its time.
I don't think it would work now. Like, even if Sony made it now, I think the fact that what Sony did with it was the problem, was that they were trying to keep it on the PlayStation and the PlayStation Store.
And to essentially springboard it into your entertainment system, that's already been debunked. But at the same time, I'm not talking about necessarily putting stuff out on your PlayStation as a television, using your PlayStation as a media controller or a conduit for media. I'm talking about the show itself was ahead of its time, and had it been conceived of 5 years ago, it would have been much better and be way more popular because it wasn't bad.
No, and I know they changed some stuff from the comics that I wasn't like reading. Like, I haven't read the comics, but going through kind of the wiki page about it, there were some things about it that I think would have held better to the show if they kept. And that's always just a risk that you take.
Well, Forget Your Life in the chat mentioned another show that was before Powers that paved the way for Powers.
Heroes!
I remember Heroes.
Heroes was before Powers. Here, in fact, Powers was kind of a springboard off of Heroes. After Heroes apparently was super good. I never watched it.
The first season,
and then turned super bad real fast.
The first season was really good, and it all built to this battle between the main villain and the main hero that was just the complete wettest, flattest fart of a fight that you've ever seen. It was just like, clearly you didn't have the budget to do
what you
spent the season building to, and then all the subsequent seasons were like,
Well, I mean, season 2 did pretty well, but the writer's strike killed that show.
Oh,
that's right. That's right.
That was right in the middle as that show was getting going, and like their second season had half the episode count, and they had to just cut it short, and that was a big reason why it fell flat.
Miles says they kept changing writers between seasons. Yeah, that doesn't help.
Well, and probably the changing of the writers had something to do with the writer's strike. Yeah, there was a lot of things about that. It makes you appreciate how so much of success with television and movies has so much to do with the world around it. I'm very curious to see how many of these shows, especially shows that have already been in production, that had their production suspended because of COVID. And it looks like, nobody's coming back for anything for a year. I mean, not the stuff that's already in the can that they've already shot the footage. The stuff that they're halfway through shooting the footage and now they have to go back and finish it up. Everybody has aged a year. Everybody has changed a year. It's
the
very
pace
hard
is
to
thrown
walk.
off.
The pace is thrown off. Everybody has walked away from the show, and then they have, the actors have to recharacterize that person and go, "What was that? Who was that person again that I was playing?
What were they going through for what we've already filmed? Right. Imagine if you stopped in the middle of a season where things were getting really emotional and intense, and you just have to walk away from that as an actor for
and then it's and action. It's it's going to be very interesting to see how this will affect everything. And on top of that, so many especially of the smaller businesses that are supporting movies, not the movie companies themselves, but many of the contractors, the sub companies probably are going to go out of business between now and when they go back into production. There's a lot of people who are not going to be employed or not employed now and are not going to survive an entire year of being off of whatever they're being off, assuming it's only a year. It could be a couple of years. Who knows? We don't know until we have if not a vaccine, a therapy for how to successfully treat COVID in the hospital if you get sick.
The world's going to be a different place, I think. It's just going to be crazy.
It's going to be interesting to see how it's reflected in our media.
There was a comic book, Two Heroes, and then they had another season that came out a year or two ago.
Oh, really?
Yes, that was it was a continuation of the world, but not their current storylines. The main characters was Claire, who was the girl who could regenerate, her kid, her kids who were twins.
The next generation.
Yeah, essentially. But it was just them.
Do they all have really big heads and really tiny capes?
No.
Little tiny fat bodies, their big heads. They all look like Stewie?
Not quite. No. Okay. They were 12.
Oh, all right.
Actually, finish up.
Oh, just it did not end up. I watched the entire season and I thought it was okay, but it didn't get really well received, so it didn't pick up a second season.
Yeah, AC Wraith brings up that Flash actually lost an actor that they fired the actor because of in our all sitting around and going back over old tweets, was fired for racist tweets. So now in the middle of their production of their season, they have fired the actor, and now they have to figure out how are we going to write around that.
If he doesn't
that
come back.
Never goes well.
To circle it all back around to Splinter Cell.
Oh yes, Splinter Cell. That I forgot about that.
I read something and I forget where, but it was someone speculating about the new media landscape, and one of the things that they thought was that you will start to see a rise in more adult animation because it's easier to do that separately and social distancing than it is to film. And so when you ask what's the new media landscape going to look like, and then thinking back, anime and Splinter Cell is a weird combination. Maybe that has something to do with the current situation where it's just easier to make an anime of Splinter Cell than it is to make a show of it.
Yeah. It's also way cheaper to make an anime. Yeah. There's no CGI. There are no locations. There are no, taking an entire production crew to Belarus and then over to, Antarctica and whatever they need to film.
And I'm wondering if this is just a bigger push by Ubisoft to kind of expand away from just games into other media.
They've been trying that. They've had a movie CG studio or something for several years, and they just kind of haven't done anything with it.
I mean, Splinter Cell isn't being used all that much. No. So, I mean, I'm wondering if they're just
being used a lot, but not to make Splinter Cell.
Yeah, and I love those games, actually. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right, so moving right along. What's our next item? Actually, I guess I have to bring one. Well, I did bring one, sort of, but I mean, if you've got something.
Well, I have a bigger news, which for us is less of big news, but this past week, Nintendo had a massive leak of source code and internal documents that people are calling the Giga Leak.
Giga Leak?
The Giga Leak.
Oh, Giga Leak.
Giga. Giga.
Giga Leak. Okay.
The Giga Leak. And it's basically code for early games. Some of the things are a new Animal Crossing villager, early prototypes for Pokemon games, characters cut from Star Fox, iterations of Yoshi when they were first designing Yoshi, like what he would look like, and the iterations that took you to where he is now. Code that said that Luigi was originally meant to be in Super Mario 64, but took him out. So just a lot of information like that. And
that was a huge rumor, by the way. Like everyone, that was one of the mysteries of the internet was he supposed to be in this game? And apparently it was going to be called Ultra 64 Mario Bros. That's Brothers. That was what Mario 64 was initially called before they removed Luigi.
They really should make a Mario Bros. Where they're all kind of like buffed out college, frat boys. Just no longer make them little Mario and Luigi. Make them like Mario and Luigi. Sorry.
But a lot of this stuff, it's not like new games or new announcements or most things like that. It's a lot of old documents. And so that's led to the situation where the problem that this has, it's less a problem for like, announcement was kneecapped by this leak, and more of emulators and archivists being like, this is the gold mine of stuff, but we can't use it because technically it's stolen. So like if someone makes an emulator of Mario 64 and puts the model of Luigi in there,
right,
suddenly they're using stolen assets, and it's like, you could get Nintendo really cracking down on you in a significant way. But then there's also the fact that, a lot of emulators kind of do use stolen code. It's just a little bit more under the table. And so it's presented a lot of conflicting, like, this is great, but this is kind of bad. This is fascinating, but we shouldn't use this, but maybe we kind of will use it. But that's just an interesting situation to be in, specifically because this is stuff that Nintendo as a company, their philosophy is to keep it secret. They don't show iteration. They just show you the finished product and then say, yeah, it was always like this. And so the fact that you can see the weird iterations of Yoshi is just a peek behind the curtain of Nintendo that you don't get often.
And in the Super Mario world, like, they have unused assets of Luigi in general. One of them is him giving the bird to the player, like flipping them off, and that's just hilarious to me. Like, that should be in the game. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what to make of it, because, like, cool, you shouldn't be stealing this info, but it's so old, like, no one's going to get in trouble for it.
And at the same time, it's so fascinating to see. It's like, oh, this is stolen, that's bad, but keep telling me. Keep talking.
Yeah, this is our childhood. Like, this is all of the behind the scenes for it, so it's cool.
Right. All right. So let's see. Our next item is might as well hit Battletoads. Big news.
Okay, I have another one. Who gives a fuck about Battletoads? Fuck Battletoads.
I honestly don't, but I know a lot of people who do. That we finally have a date when Battletoads is supposed to be
bad
out.
People because they like Battletoads.
Why? What's wrong with Battletoads?
What have you done by saying you're looking forward to this game? It's 25 years. Let it go.
Well, yeah, but people that really like Battletoads, I know somebody with a Battletoads tattoo. They like it. People who like it really, really like it.
Fucking motorcycle level.
What?
That's a level of bad person for Nick. Motorcycle.
There's a level of Battletoads that's impossible to beat, and it's a bad game for dumb people.
Really? You really think so?
He got destroyed in Battletoads when he was younger.
Apparently.
No, it's one of those games that I played as a kid, and I always got to the same level and died, and it's like, I can never beat this. This is a dumb game.
Well, the new it's actually not just a reskin. It's a actual whole new episode of the series that is coming to Xbox One and to to Steam. We have an official date. It was announced in 2018, I think, at E3, and the people who cared about it lost their minds and then said, "Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?" And it is going to be coming out on the I'm showing you the original Battletoads. It's coming out on August 20th. So 18 days from now.
Yeah, that's surprisingly soon.
Yeah.
Skip ahead to the motorcycles. Look for a side-scrolling motorcycle. I think this is too far. Well, I don't know if this is like a full playthrough.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a full playthrough either. Is that it?
No. Go back to the early things. Wait. No, this is way too far in the future. No, you gotta go way back to the beginning.
Oh, so you didn't even really get into the game.
Right.
No, is that it? Right there.
That one?
There you go.
Okay.
This level is one of the worst game levels ever created in the history of gaming.
Because you couldn't do it?
Because no one can do it.
Oh, this guy apparently is.
Yeah.
This is like Nick. one of those hardcore rote memorizations of you have to remember everything pixel perfect.
Yeah? You love those kinds of games.
No, I don't.
Come on, Super Meat Boy?
Yeah, Super Meat Boy is a good version of that.
No.
Anyways.
So,
Battletoads.
So yeah, Battletoads coming out August 20th if you care on Xbox and Steam. After 25 years, finally. So you were saying?
A good thing. Well, wait. AC Wraith's just his cousin. Oh, his cousin beat that level. They just didn't get many levels further.
Oh.
Halo, the new Halo Infinite multiplayer is going to be free to play.
Really?
The single player is not, but the multiplayer is free to play and will support 120 frames per second.
Oh, really?
On the Xbox Series X. I'm pretty sure Infinite is coming out for Xbox One X. But don't expect that to be 120 frames per second. But even on that box, the multiplayer will be free to play. So
really, that's
Microsoft
surprising.
Wants you to play Halo.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's Microsoft has always wanted you to play Halo.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you remember how Gully used to react when the last Halo came out? He was like, "Fuck, I'm sick and tired of hearing fucking Halo, Halo this and Halo that." We're gonna hear a lot about Halo, but in the next year.
And that's a cool thing, especially...
It's a good way to bring people in to want to play the game, especially if, like, we're a classic case of that, where one of us might actually pick up the game and say, hey, it's not bad. Come play with me. The multiplayer's free. You just play the multiplayer with me. And then it just might get me to buy the regular game. But even so, it's eyes, and they need to have as much buzz around Halo, much people interested in Halo, because, of course, I think that they're intending for Halo to sell the console.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but I mean, I think it's a good plan just from a player-based side of things, like keeping your multiplayer queues fast and keeping that going.
Yeah, that's true. It's just make it free so that literally everyone can play.
Yeah, it's a death to any multiplayer game is not enough people playing it, where you're just sitting there in the loading screen forever. Case in point, what was it? Gears of War? When we went back to try to play Gears of War and couldn't get a game because not enough people were playing it.
Maybe.
Can't remember. Oh, the ticker.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, I'm going to try it now, and it's going to be on PC, so I'm going to be able to play it there at least.
Oh, that's right. It would, because they...
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a important thing to have, is that ability to be able to cross-platform all of this stuff. Really, really important.
And it makes sense given their push to kind of be a platform instead of just a game seller. You know, they want you to get into that Xbox ecosystem no matter what. As long as you're playing an Xbox game, that's all they care about, because that makes you more likely to keep playing it and buy something else on that service.
Right. And I would absolutely play Halo multiplayer, because honestly, I'm not interested in the story. Never have been. I was not an early Halo player. So kind of like the same thing with Gears of War. I really, really, really loved, was it Gears of War 3? Because of the multiplayer, not because of the story, because I had not played 1 or 2. Those were happening at a time that I was not into. I had a PlayStation 2, and that's what I wanted, and I didn't feel any need to get into Gears of War. Also, I really wasn't playing games that much. Now, when Gears of War 3 came out, absolutely brought me into it with the multiplayer.
Was it the wave mode, maybe?
Beast mode.
Could that have been it? Because I don't know if... did you play the multiplayer a lot of Gears of War? It was very, like... I won't say competitive, but I did not think that was a fantastic multiplayer.
Oh, not the competitive multiplayer. It was the cooperative multiplayer.
Yeah, and specifically what you played as the Locust.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Beast mode. That was the original Beast mode. You played as the Beast, and I freaking loved it. I thought it was great. We had a great time playing that.
Yeah. And yeah, in the chat, AC Wraith, he's talking about how they're wondering, why didn't Microsoft announce that during their event? Like when they first showed it off. That seems like the perfect thing to announce on a stream when you show off the game to really get people excited about it.
Right.
Why not?
Right. They pulled a Nick. They buried the lead on this.
Yeah.
I'm guessing they had all this stuff pre-recorded, and this is a newer announcement. Like, they had this all planned months before they released it. So
then that is an argument of why you need to have E3, because it forces you to actually make those decisions way earlier, because you have a deadline. And if you don't make it at E3, you're not going to get the impact. You're not going to win E3 against Sony.
And it's one of those situations where on the stream that you hype up, more people will get that news than in a news story you release later.
Right.
You know, people remember the original story. They don't remember the correction.
Right. And everybody, I can guarantee you, everybody is remembering from Halo what was said at this presentation, which was, wow, it looks like Halo, not that impressed, when they really should be impressed by, hey, multiplayer is free for this game.
Yeah.
I mean, that could probably like get some people hyped who don't play the single player stuff.
Right. I'm actually more interested in it simply because the multiplayer is free. So, Ryan Stevenson pointed out that they are doing another stream coming in August, but then why not hold off this news until August?
They couldn't.
Well, it also leaked. It leaked and then they confirmed it. But again, like that.
Why wouldn't they say it? What was it? A week ago? A week ago. It was a week ago.
The fact
there was not a decision made a week ago.
Yeah, it's one of the situations where by trying to drag it out for as long as they can, they invite things to leak, and they just create these situations where a narrative begins,
right?
And then they try to have to correct that narrative. And it's like,
and like I said, I think it's a matter of timing. I'm guessing that was made sometime recently, And since these are all just pre-recorded clips outside of like E3 where you have to do a live performance on day of, you can adjust stuff. But if they turned this clip in 2 months ago and they didn't plan to they didn't know that they were doing this yet.
Yeah, but that was the clip. It didn't change them actually, the talking heads talking about the game.
Well, they
could have made that announcement during the rest of the live stream during the game. It wasn't really a live stream. It was a pre-recorded
that's my
stream.
point.
But even so, you could put that stuff in there. It's not that hard. You make announcements. Well,
I guess you could edit
you put Phil. Fucking, I always forget his name. You put Phil Spencer. You put Spectre in front of a green screen, have him say some stuff, and then.
Yeah, but I'm wondering because at specific timings on something like that, you don't want this running long, even though there's no problem if it does, because it lasted like exactly an hour, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why? This isn't E3 where you have a stage show and things. Like, you can run for as long as you want.
E3, they go long all the time at
There's
E3.
No stage. There's literally
nobody giving them the hook to pull them off the stage. You know,
like why? Why
maybe they were
yourself?
like,
why couldn't you? They did. Oh yeah, and one more thing. Here's a Fable that's not going to happen. But they could have said, oh, and one more thing. Halo multiplayer is going to be for free. Thank you. The end. Good night. They could have done that.
And then next month in August, be like, hey, Fable, the same useless like title card of generic Forest. Like,
about Fable?
August they'll have like, and here's an in-depth look at Fable. It's like, well, why didn't you show that before? It's the idea of trying to stretch this information out for months is
I
bad.
will eat my hat if there is a in-depth look at Halo, because Halo doesn't exist. It's not real. Fable. I'm sorry, not Fable. Yeah, Fable doesn't.
Halo definitely exists.
Halo, yeah. Fable doesn't fucking exist. I'm saying it right now. We will never see that. It is right up there with Huxley. We will never see that come out. It is Half-Life 3.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I do agree that Fable does not exist right now. They have nothing for Fable 3.
What you saw is everything they thought of so far. It's in a
Corky Fairy. Corky Fairy getting ate by a frog. That's it.
It's in a forest. There's going to be fairies and frogs.
There's a town. There's a city in the distance.
You know why there is no Fable leak right now? Because there's nothing to leak. And if there was, that wouldn't be a giga leak. It would be a micro leak. It would be a nano leak.
Oh, I hope. Miles Thompson said he hopes that the future of Fable is fantastic, and I do too. I'd love to see that series again.
I loved Fable. I say that as somebody who's a huge fan of Fable. It's not going to happen. It's just not. Don't get your hopes up. Seriously, it will break your heart if you believe this.
Too late. It's the only game I'm looking forward to in the next coming years. The Fable. That's it.
And something that I hope that would complete me, I could die happy, is if when they make the big announcement about Fable, that they actually pull the clip from this show right here of me saying it doesn't exist, it's not real, and have them go, it's real, and then show Fable. That would make I would die a happy woman.
If they blacked me out, like, I'd be fine with that.
It's not going to happen.
I don't know. The game Grounded, one they showed off there, is.
AC Ray says Edie and Nick love Fable so much they sacrificed a child to it. Yeah, we did. You got a problem with that?
We sacrificed a child to satisfy Peter Molyneux. Our child became Milo.
Oh God, that would make me feel worse. I would rather have him lost in a hellscape for eternity than having become the walking poster child for like inappropriate relationships with young boys. Oh.
Xbox just like, wow, we found this weird kid code in our program. Can we use it?
All right, so
right
along.
Slight news, kind of related. There's a chance that Fable may be further along because one game that they showed off during their press conference, Grounded, the survival game, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids-esque game, actually had a beta recently, and people could get in and play and spent a lot of time playing it. And so that's, I assume, because of that, that is probably a launch game for the Series X.
Yeah. Well, I mean, did anybody say if it was any good? Did you hear any reports?
They had 1 million players.
People said that, yeah, it was successful. It seemed like it's a survival game. It's one of those, and it seemed like there was a more of a story to it than some of these other survival games. Well, it's not so much Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but like you find yourself shrunk and you're trying to figure out why and how. And so you're kind of wandering through the grass, discovering secret labs and things like that.
Also, they have an arachnophobia mode in it, which is a slider that if you're scared of spiders, that you can just turn it all the way down and you'll have these gray blobs coming at you.
That's kind of cool.
It's like on Spider, you have all the legs, and then the more you slide it, like the legs start disappearing, and so it's just like two orbs that are colored, and if you keep going, they just turn into gray ovals.
Oh, I can see that. Because this is a spider's nest. That's ants.
That spider was terrifying.
Yeah.
But they stole art assets from Ookie Bookie Spelookie. Like,
did they? Oh, the gray blocks.
the gray orb.
We have to sue.
Well, it was a block, but then they manipulated it and made it an orb.
All right.
Fair use.
Yeah, because orbs are way too interesting for you. That's too complex. So yeah, how did anybody get into the Grounded beta? Was it?
I honestly don't know. I just, browsing Kotaku and sites and just seeing, hey, look, we played Grounded and things like that. It's like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. I guess it's in early access on Steam. AC Ray says that, so you could just, buy it on Steam and play it in early access.
It looks good to me. Like, obviously, there's a lot of different survival games, but like just this shrunken world where you're fighting giant insects is cool to me. Like, it's normal. You're not some dinosaur alien world. You're not some prehistoric thing. It's everything you know and love, but now a survival game like in your backyard.
Right.
That's cool to me.
Yeah. Where you start seeing your own current reality in a different way from a different perspective.
Ryan Stevenson says that it's also on Game Pass.
Oh, it is. Huh. Well, it makes sense. Game Pass, that's a really good use of Game Pass, is to throw betas onto there.
Yeah.
Because it is a wonderful pool of players that would be interested in playing it and wouldn't feel ripped off if they had if they did play it and it wasn't good. They didn't like it or it wasn't good. And B, people like me are like, wow, I'm actually really curious about this. Oh, but it's on Game Pass. I just might pick up Game Pass, if only just to try the Grounded beta. Yeah, it's a win-win. So, he's cutting a leaf.
Speaking of betas, mind if I go into my next news?
Absolutely.
There is apparently fake Cyberpunk 2077 beta invites going around that are getting sent to people, and CD Projekt Red's like, that's not us. Don't trust that. We do not plan to do a beta at all, much less have invites for it. But apparently it's been making the rounds for the last week, and it's been getting people. I'm not sure what happens to them, but it's not by them at all. Guaranteed.
Ooh, I wonder what data they're mining out of that, and if anybody's accounts have been compromised.
Probably.
I have to imagine so, but yeah, CD Projekt Red was like on top of that, and they're just like, not us. Don't do it. We don't plan to have a beta. Which is also news that they don't plan to have a beta, so you're hoping for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the cake and the Cyberpunk 2077 beta invite is a lie. All right, good to know. Anything else?
I have one more thing.
All right,
and then I'm out of stuff. Just something kind of cool. On September 7th, PlayStation's releasing a documentary for themselves, essentially. It's called From Bedroom to Billions, The PlayStation Revolution. and it's going to be a documentary, just kind of over the years of PlayStation, talking to different devs like Kojima, talking to the people who made God of War, and just a documentary about it, their kind of life cycle. And I'm kind of interested. I've always been cool seeing like a behind the look.
That sounds actually really interesting. Not only from people, just to hear from the minds of these people that are making it, but also kind of taking a look behind the curtain. Seeing how the sausage is made, so to speak. Getting a sense of what does it take to make these things, and what makes these guys so much more successful than all of those people out there that aren't successful making games. So it's free and available on PlayStation?
I don't know if it's free, but it will be coming out digitally September 7th. And maybe not just out on PlayStation, but definitely it'll be there too.
Yeah, I will watch that. I am interested. My next item is a slightly longer story. Actually, I'll go through the shorter one and then we'll go through the longer one. First off, the short one, EA had a earnings announcement for the most recent quarter, and guess what? Record setting. Most successful quarter they have had in the company's 38-year history. The quarter ended June 30th.
Wow.
They posted revenue of $1.46 billion for the quarter. The company made a profit of $365 million. The overwhelming majority of EA's revenue came for the quarter. $1.1 billion of that revenue came from microtransactions.
Probably
they call live services, but it's microtransactions.
With COVID already, like console and like video gaming is on the rise, but sports were also canceled or shut down. So that market in particular, I imagine, got a boon. Like they got picked up a lot, and those games are literally filled with microtransactions. That's the entire point of them.
Right. So yeah, the player engagement, according to the CFO Blake Jorgensen, said their player engagement was exceptionally high for the quarter, even above what EA's forecast was to be. What was for the quarter? They said the big winners, Sims 4 was a huge success. God, Sims is still making shit tons of money.
I want to get all the DLC for that game, and I went out and priced it, and it's like $650 if you buy every single pack and expansion for that game.
God.
And stuff pack.
So yeah, Sims 4 had 30 million players. The number of daily, weekly, and monthly active players for Sims 4 reached, quote, record highs during the quarter. Apex Legends, another big winner for EA over this last quarter. They had the highest levels of play since season 1, and then go kind of piggybacking on what Andrew said, because of the lack of live sports, people were turning to sports games, and Madden NFL 20 did very, very well. They said player acquisition for the series rose by nearly 140%, which means it's new people that have not been Madden players previously starting the game. 140% it went up this quarter. And Madden Ultimate Team engagement was up more than double compared to last year. So yeah, sports driving a shit ton of that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, does not surprise me in the least. But I'm sure other game companies are going to be similarly successful. But yeah, EA is, of course, being one of the two big sports companies, sports franchise developers or publishers. They're probably going to reap the biggest rewards of anybody right now. That and 2K
sucks because they don't deserve it.
No.
EA needs to go under. Yeah. They won't, but they need to.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna have a cliff that we're gonna foos off of a cliff, EA would be second. First would be Activision. Bobby Kotick right off the cliff.
I mean, they can go together. They can go holding hands.
And then my last item, which is slightly longer than everything else. So I don't know, boy, Jason Schreier is just taking no prisoners when it comes to Ubisoft. When he's not breaking news about Ubisoft executives with their hands down the pants of female underlings, employees. Do you remember? Well, he got this one and he laid it out, and it's Jason. I trust him. Remember, Nick, a while ago that Ubisoft hired Mike Laidlaw, who was one of the designers of Dragon Age. He was the designer of Dragon Age, and they hired him, and it was like, wow, that's kind of cool. I guess they're working on something really awesome. And then January, wasn't not even a year. Mike Laidlaw makes this announcement, I'm leaving Ubisoft. And I was like, what the hell happened there? He was there like for a minute and then was gone. Well, according to Jason Schreier, there is a reason for it, and that is because Serge Haskaway of the sexual harassment and horrible person fame.
Worst Game of Thrones
worst Game of
title ever.
Yeah. He pretty much killed the game that he was working on. So Mike Laidlaw was working on a role-playing game that was codenamed Avalon. And it was supposed to be an adventure involving King Arthur and the Round Table and sword and sorcery fantasy world. They were going to have knights and legends, and Serge Haskaway hated the genre. He hates fantasy games. And he pretty much just nixed it, just got rid of it. And every time that Mike Laidlaw would show what they were working on and present to them, he would be like, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. And so in order to try and save it, Laidlaw actually pitched new themes to it, trying to save this game that they were working on, because every time that we presented it, they pretty much got slammed by the creative, creative officer, chief creative officer. And finally, Mike Laidlaw was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. And that's why he walked.
I'm wondering if it, when they were picking him up, they were like, listen, we're going to give you the freedom to make the game you want. They got him by saying, you get to do the thing that you want. Because almost every game developer probably has that one project that they're like, if I could get the money behind this, if I get the team, I'm going to make this, and this is going to be my baby.
Right.
And he must have been like, I'm going to take my chance here. And to get shut down on something like that, on your project,
right,
must have been devastating.
And it wasn't like he wasn't, like Laidlaw wasn't trying to just keep the project alive. According to Jason Schreier, he switched the settings. He tried one that was more science fiction. That got shut down. Then another one that was based on Greek mythology. That got shot down. All of them got shot down by Haskaway, and then it was in last fall that the game was officially canceled. And it was all Serge Haskaway saying, no, 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 no.
Wrong.
Canceled. So yeah, according to the report, let's see, series of action games struggle. Haskaway wasn't a fan of the fantasy genre, and I'm reading directly from the report from him. And he set a high bar for Avalon team in Quebec City, Canada. If they were going to make a fantasy game, it had to be better than Tolkien, quote unquote, he told them.
So basically be better than one of the first top-end fantasy worlds, genres, stories.
Right. It has to be better than Tolkien. If it's not better than Tolkien, we're not making it. It's like, yeah, but you made a bucket ton of other games that weren't necessarily meeting that high bar. And it's like, why would you hire the designer of Dragon Age when you don't want to make a sword and fantasy game?
That feels like the executives not talking to each other. One person doing something and the other rejecting it.
Right. And it definitely feels like Mike Laidlaw was hired without the approval of Serge Haskaway, and Haskaway was just going to shit can everything that this guy brought in because he was not consulted. Which now, given that we understand what's going on with Ubisoft, or what was going on and kind of their culture, sounds like exactly the fucking shit that they would pull.
I'm guessing he probably got headhunted when BioWare wasn't doing great, and they were like,
"Oh,
all right,
that could be.
Come work for us and we'll let you do what you want." And when he actually got under the creative director, when it was time to actually get his team going, that's when he was getting told no.
Right. Or maybe it might have even been Yves Guillemot who walked up to Serge and said, "Hey, we've hired this guy. We're making a game with him." Yeah. And Serge being like, "But I'm the chief creative officer. Why am I being, what? I don't want to do this. I don't want to do the stuff that he does."
I don't think
we just hired him. He's kind of a legend. We have him. Use him. And he's like, "Okay, fine. Okay."
I'm guessing Serge probably didn't get told who was getting hired most of the time. Like, that's just not his department, I'd imagine. It was just more of a, hey, you have this person working under you now.
I would imagine exactly the opposite. As chief creative officer, when you're hiring a big name of a designer that you are going to have making a whole new game. I had a slight lag here. When you've got a big name like this guy, the designer of Dragon Age, and you have just pulled him away from his home company that he made all of this with, just scored. You best believe he was told. Absolutely. He's the chief creative officer. He's got to know who the big designers are. He's got to know who's the big designers that are working for him. And moreover, he's got to know what games have been promised to these designers.
Then, yeah, I'm guessing either.
No, he didn't want him. He didn't want him, and he was going to make his life hell until he left. And that's what he did.
I wonder if, like, when he first got there, he told the Serge no for something. Like, just stood up to him, and from then on out, his life was just
like, no, none. We will not do that. No. So yeah, which one more thing, which it kind of pisses me off because I would have loved to have had that game.
And then we mentioned this.
And again, I'm a female gamer, so Serge Haskell doesn't care about me.
Then they made For Honor, which is, by all intents and purposes, a fantasy game. Like, it has medieval knights, but none of it is accurate. The world's new. There's necromancy.
It's a fantasy game, but it's also fighting. It's not an RPG. It's not a fantasy RPG, which is, I would imagine, in Serge Haskaway's sick little twisted mind, chick gaming. Because we do love our sword and fantasy RPGs. We always have. That's why Dragon Age, one of the reasons why Dragon Age was so fucking successful, was women gamers like me. So anyway, that was what's happening with Ubisoft. More Band-Aids getting pulled off so that we can see the rotted infestation underneath. Hopefully that sickness will be drained.
In the chat, Miles has asked a couple times about a rumor of Dreamcast 2. And I was looking into this because I hadn't heard anything. Everything I can find, it looks like it's either rumors from years ago or something that a Japanese journalist, Zenji Nishikawa, said that there would be news to rile up the games industry about a game company everyone loves appearing in the June 4th issue of Famitsu. But, June 4th has passed and there has been no announcement of a Dreamcast.
Was there anything in Famitsu about
it? Not that I heard of. If it was whatever big news they had, it must not have been big enough to cross the ocean. But basically everything I can find has nothing. I think whatever rumor he saw was probably a rumor from years ago that got traction a little earlier. Because I've seen nothing about that in any.
We should start a
news site.
The gaming equivalent of a Snopes, where we just find the rumors, research out the rumors, and declare if they're true or false. Because there's a lot of rumors out there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fake news. And I hate using that phrase because it's been so abused. So anything else we have for the rest of the show, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Nope. All right. Shall we close this out then?
Yeah.
All right. Let's close this out. You've been listening to GameHounds, episode 556. We recorded this on Sunday, August 2nd, 2020. I've been Edie Sellers. With me has been Nick DiNicola and Andrew Smith. If you ever want to get a hold of us, gamehounds.net is our website. Gamehounds@gmail.com is our email. We record this show live on Spreaker as an audio show. That's Spreaker with an R, Spreaker.com, Spreaker. Check it out. If you ever want to listen to us live in the chat room, we are here. We'd love to have you listening on the chat. Or if you want to go take it a step further and watch us record this live on video with some pre-show and some post-show stuff, feel free to join us on both YouTube and Twitch. On YouTube, we are GameHounds Vids. That's GameHounds VIDS, as in videos. Check us out there. You can also hit the comment section while we're doing the show. We answer them and post them on the screen. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications to let you know when we go live. That way you'll never miss us. Also, you can watch us on Twitch. We are The GameHounds on Twitch. Check it out. As well as, don't forget our Facebook page. It is The GameHounds on Facebook, and it is @GameHounds on Twitter. Nick, Andrew, have a great week, as well as you guys who are listening. Thank you so much. If you listen to us on iTunes or iHeartRadio or any of the other, pardon me, any of the other podcast platforms, please leave us feedback there, because it makes people find us. And the more people that find us, the more members of the GameHound Nation we have here joining us every single week. Have a great weekend, everybody. Have a great week. Take care. Be safe. Wear your masks. It is not a hoax. Wear your masks. Wash your hands. We can't afford to lose a single one of you guys. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye. All right. Audio podcast is out. We are still live on Twitch and YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, in the chat, Miles mentioned an article on Tweaktown about the Dreamcast 2, and I found that, but it was originally published in 2015 and then updated in 2020, but I don't see the update. Like, I've read through the article a couple times.
Oh, they didn't identify what the update was after 5 years?
No, it was updated just recently.
Right, but they didn't actually delineate what they were updating, what new information they had to update it on 2020.
No, I can't see that. And the
article
article
might have changed
the article. The article still mentions the Nintendo's NX console.
Oh gosh,
which became the Switch.
Right,
it's funny.
Yeah, I would say that is definitely.
Yeah, there's no Dreamcast 2.
There's no Dreamcast 2. What's our YouPorn account? We do not know.
He also suggested we make a fans only page.
An OnlyFans?
OnlyFans, that's it. My bad.
I mean, it's it's a fan page, right? If you're fans, you make an OnlyFans page.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That just makes sense.
Mm-mm.
Don't worry, me and Nick.
With goalie porn.
Yeah.
It'll be me.
That's what happens. Right. That's what happens.
Me, Nick, and goalie.
Yeah, when you leave the show, that is the rule. You go on the YouPorn page. We just make content for the YouPorn page with you and only you.
Okay. It'll just be my audio track, like separated from everyone else's.
Your audio track on top of really inappropriate things, of like animals having sex.
Just out of context commentary to what's going on.
Right. Yeah, AC Ray says, join us on Twitch where he has more emotes to throw around. Oh, I know. You have been on fire with the emotes. It's like a kid in a candy store putting us on Twitch. All right. So, what are you going to be doing the rest of the day? Anybody going to be playing anything? Jumping on anything?
Oh, we're playing a little bit of Escape from Tarkov.
That's one game I should watch. I've heard about that, and it sounds cool.
It is breaking, my friend.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So, it is a hardcore shooter. Essentially, you load in, you prep your stuff, your gear, and you load into. There's two modes. I should make this clear. You have a PMC, which is a military person, and you get to choose gear that you own out of like your inventory, and then you load into a game, and you try to gather gear, kill people, get out. If you die, you lose everything you brought with you and everything you were holding. And
like
the goal
real
is,
death.
Yeah, so if you lose, like, if you brought in like a really good gun and you die, you lose that gun. There's insurance, so you can get that back, but that's different. And if you got really good loot off of people, you can take that and, leave and then sell it. There's almost no HUD. There's no way to tell an enemy from your teammate other than like good communication, and there's friendly fire. So killing your teammate happens a lot.
What type of game is it? Like, if you lose everything, is it a game where there's going to be one winner, and so most people are losing everything, or?
No, you go through the map and you have a time limit, and then you try to. There's evac points that you have to get to. Finding those evac points comes from like you can hold a button and it'll show you how close you are to it, but not where it is or how to get there. So you have to have somebody who knows where they're going, or you're going to get screwed.
So how do other people work? Like, what are they doing?
Okay, so there are NPCs in there called scavs that you can go and just kill and like take their loot. They have random loot. And then there's crates and stuff. So essentially you're just going in and scavenging and looting gear to get out and sell that gear or to use it.
Okay, so it's not a multiplayer game.
Yes, it is. There are other
co-op.
people.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
You can co-op with a person, but there are other teams in those map too, like real people, and they will kill you for your loot.
Okay.
So it's really hardcore, basically survival game. And if your character, you have like multiple body parts that take damage, and after you get out, those parts still have damage. And you can go back into the game with those like damage still going on.
What was the name of that survival game where you start off naked and then
Rust?
Rust.
Arc.
It's kind of like Rust with guns.
Like Rust with DayZ.
Actually, Rust does have guns, but it's closer to DayZ in a way, or like a PUBG where you don't really have to battle anyone. The whole point is to loot and get out, and you're going between menus. You're essentially loading into a level and then loading out.
Okay, so it's because like with PUBG, there's going to be one winner, and that means there's 99 other losers. So in this one, it's basically a bunch of people shoved into a world and then told, go to point A. You can get there without shooting anyone, but chances are you'll probably find someone to shoot and get shot at.
You're dropped into a place and told, get something of value. Whatever that is to you, fill up your loot bag and then get out. And
so it's
you don't
like
have
military loot simulator.
Yeah, you don't have to kill anyone. In fact, in the game like community, there are two types of people. You got Chads or you got rats. And Chads are the big dick energy. I'm going to go into firefights. I'm going to get my loot the hard way. And rats are the people that come in after and take what you leave behind. Because you have limited ammo. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And my friend's a rat and I'm a rat. We're proud rats. But yes, it's just this really hardcore game where you're just trying to basically get loot and not...
It's broken your friend.
Yes, because he'll bring in like good gear and he's solo, but you can get put in against teams. So he'll kill 3 people and they get taken out by the last person. And he'll lose like $600,000 worth of gear.
Oh, jeez.
And he'll just be like, I hate my life, and then he'll load into another one.
Yep.
And the other way to play.
Oh, go on. There's another mode.
Yeah, so you can either load it as a PMC where you get to choose your gear and like you retain your damage after the game, and you can heal with items, or you can do the scav mode. And what that is you drop in as essentially one of the NPCs, the NPC faction. You get a random gun, random gear, and it's the same goal as to basically get out. The NPCs won't kill you unless you shoot at them, but now you're the person that every other normal player shoots at. So take it with like a grain of salt.
That seems like the mode where you would jump in and then be like, okay, I'm going to go kill someone.
Yes, that's the mode you could try to kill, or you try to get loot back without losing anything.
Okay. So in that mode, you can earn stuff, but when you start it, you're given equipment.
Yeah, you're given like a random gun.
Yeah, and so anything that you loot, you take with you for good. But if you die, you just lose the random stuff that you had.
Yeah, you don't technically lose anything, but there is a timer to it. You can't keep doing it. It's like 20 minutes if you die. So you can't just keep going back into it. Whereas if you survive and get out as a PMC, you can go right back into it the next game.
Okay, so that's kind of how you can amass stock of stuff.
Yeah, without losing everything constantly.
Oh, and searching is so slow. So you actually have to. It's like a really searching a body. So you're in a screen where you are.
You are exposed,
vulnerable. Yeah.
And not only that, but like players can take bags and throw them into other bags. So if you open a bag, you can see another bag in there that might have more items in that bag. So it is a pain in the ass to loot, but that's the whole point. Is like
I'll have to try to find a good video of this. This looks like it could be fun to watch.
It is, but yes, it is breaking my friend. He bought it for me a while back, and I played it a few times with him. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to join you because you are. He keeps running into teams, and he'll take out 2 or 3 people out of 4 people teams, and then get taken out. Or he'll have really good loot, and then he'll see a team, and they'll take him out. But yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to go play.
Looks like he's scavenging too.
Yes. We rats are proud people.
Yeah, this guy is a total rat. He's just following behind and only shooting in defense.
This is kind of cool. There's a real survival horror element to this that I really dig.
They're actually coming out with an expansion soon where it's going to be like a big city. And it was kind of funny because the video for it was literally just somebody walking through a derelict building, like opening doors slowly. It was all visual. Nothing happened. It was just them walking through an empty building. So it was the most boring trailer imaginable. So again, you have exit points. Like he's going to try to evac, but other people know where those points are too.
So they're camping it, I'm sure.
Yes. The bigger maps have more points, so it's easier. But the one he's playing in is like the most hectic, which is Factory. It's a really small map with like 2 or 3 points to leave. So if you're leaving, if you've been shot in the leg, you're limping. If you've been shot in the chest, you're bleeding out if you can't deal with it. So you're sitting there just, please don't let anyone be there. Don't let anyone be there because you can't fight. And you have to bring extra magazines and ammo with you. And you can run out of ammo easily. And when you find ammo, it's not universal. If you find certain shotgun rounds and you don't have a shotgun, you can't use it. Same with different calibers of like rifle rounds or sniper rounds, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you can run out of ammo quickly. But yeah, that's Tarkov. Fun stuff.
Cool. I did not know about that. I've seen that game mentioned like in the same breath as PUBG, and so I assumed it was like a different twist on the Battle Royale, but I didn't know those details.
Yeah.
I'll have to go find that.
All right, so I guess it's that time. You're in the GameHounds shirt like a damn professional.
Yeah.
Where's mine, Edie? If I had merch, I would be decked out in it.
I barely even have merch.
I've got 2 more shirts. They're the light blue collared ones.
Yeah.
I've got 2 of them.
Something that I hope in the future to reveal is I have decided on commissioning a piece of art. It's not GameHounds related. I'm just sharing at this point, but it is going to be me and like just my face, like in a knight armor suit or noble suit, riding my cat. That's going to be gigantic, and I'm going to like in that old like Renaissance art style. And we'll put it like right here or something, and it'll just be a part of the podcast.
All right, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. For some reason, my house is looking like it's a fake background right now.
It's a set.
Like a green screen.
Yeah, it looks green screened for some reason. It just has that flatness to it. But
I feel like I could really put some more art in the back there, but it's a closet, and so I can't like hang a picture.
Just hang something in your closet.
No, you can absolutely hang a picture back there. You could put it right where whatever that white thing is right there. Just make sure it's bigger.
Well, like I've got those really cool Japanese style pictures that I got from PAX, remember?
Yep. Oh,
I can't put those on the closet.
Have you seen those, Andrew?
They don't hang well.
Pull those out. Can you grab one so you can see them? The Japanese video game.
Sure.
Done
if you Google Yukio Heroes, you can see a whole bunch. There are 3 more that he's put out a Witcher one that I really want. It looks so cool.
Yeah, there we go. The G-Clay prints. Where are they?
Oh, I spelled Yukio all wrong.
It's not like the.
There's no. I thought it had a Y.
There we go.
There is a Y.
Why is it not? Oh, it's pulling up the wrong.
It's not in the right spot.
Click on View All Striking Gilsey prints. Click on that.
Those look nice though.
Yeah.
What? That cat one looks amazing.
Mm-hmm. So those are the actual wood block ones. Those are expensive.
Yeah.
But if you go back and click on the Gilsey one, just the prints.
Yeah, I love the portraits. Solid Snake.
Those are amazing.
Who's this one? Who's that?
Ganon?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's Ganon.
Yeah, that's from Chrono Trigger. A Chrono Cross? No, Chrono Trigger.
This is that's a Mortal. Is it Mortal Kombat?
Street Fighter.
Street Fighter.
There's a Last of Us.
There is the Final Fantasy one. I really like.
This is awesome.
Zelda. One of them below that, the Shadow Colossus. I got the print of that one.
This one here?
Yeah, that one. That's one that I have.
Nice.
And then there's a Sekiro one too. That's really cool.
Like this is a good gift. Like for.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm. Oh yes. Oh, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No, I think that's Mario Kart.
Yeah, Mario Kart.
He's throwing the squid at him.
Yep.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah. Yeah, $135 for the.
Wait, well, click on the Gilsey Prints link because that will take you to more.
G-Clay.
Okay, G-Clay. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yep, that's how you pronounce it. G-Clay.
G-Clay.
Jelly GameHounds, we know how to pronounce everything.
The jelly prints. Click on the jelly prints. Yeah, right there, top left.
Yeah,
Witcher 3. That's the next one I want to get. And that was only $40. It's not break the bank.
No, and the one next to it's Last of Us, which was pretty cool.
Yeah. The jelly prints are where like there's a much larger variety of things because obviously they're not handmade. But yeah, those are what I should get in the back. I just have to change the position of the desk.
I want that cat one. I do not know where you found that, but I want it.
That was one of the earlier ones, so it would probably be you could get a print of that, and it's probably on like page 3 or page 2. I've seen those cat ones, like they're cool. And then there's a really good Katamari 1, 2.
God, I love that one.
Yeah.
With Baby Yoda.
Yep.
Looking for the Katamari one.
Spider, Alien, Godzilla, classic.
Looking for it. I'm not finding it. This is just riveting till
yeah. Well, it's the after show, whatever.
Yeah. At this point, they're staying for
Metal Gear Solid.
Oops.
Yeah, One
Punch Man.
One Punch Man. Yeah.
Yeah,
he's an
incredible artist.
There's another great one I like of Pokemon, but it's like an animal fighting ring where you've got guys around a ring throwing animals, like Pokemon animals, into the ring to fight.
That's hilarious.
Looking for that.
It'll be later on because it was one of the early ones. It's like ordered. There's the Katamari and Sekiro.
Where?
At the bottom.
Oh yeah, there's Katamari.
Whoever's doing this is amazing,
isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a documentary on YouTube of these people, of them making the Shadow of the Colossus one, and it's really cool because you see the whole process they go through to get it right.
Right. Yeah, wood printing.
That's not the one. That's not the one I was thinking.
That's not the one but that's another Pokemon one.
Yeah, no, there's another one that's better. They currently have a sale going on of buy 2 get 1 free.
Ooh.
And I'm very tempted to buy 2. Where is it? I want to get that other Shadow of the Colossus one, but where's that Pokemon one? I'm looking on my screen.
Is this the other Shadow of Colossus one?
That's another one. Oh, it's on that page. Go up a little bit. It's called Pocketing a Wager.
Do they do like custom ones? Like, can you ask them?
I don't think so. You could try it. Oh, there it is at the center. Yeah, that's a good one.
That is awesome.
That's great.
Realistic Pokemon are terrifying.
Yeah, so it's I don't know if you can see it. It is Yu-Gi-Oh! Heroes. It's shop.Yu-Gi-Oh! Heroes, and it's UKIYOE Heroes. But yeah, it's a pretty awesome stuff. In fact, yeah, you were the one that got me familiar with this when you hunted it down at PAX, because they were.
Because I didn't know they were there. Like I said, I had seen that documentary on an app that was them making this thing of Shadow of Colossus, and I thought that looks amazing. And so I went on their website, and I spent like a good several months just browsing it, going, these are so cool. I'd love to have one day. And then when we were at PAX, and
you came across it, and you were like, "Oh my god!"
I saw it, and it was buy 2 get 1 free, and I was like, "Oh shit! I have to do this. I have to take advantage of this."
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw the Sekiro one, it was like, okay, I know exactly which ones I have to get. Oh yeah, AC Wraith linked it in the chat. It's called Art of the Game, Yu-Gi-Oh! Heroes. Yu-Gi-Oh! Heroes. I think that's the whole pronunciation. Because the Yu-Gi-Oh! Is this art style, I think. The wood blocks.
Yeah. Oh, I love this one. Unfortunately, it keeps opening up a new tab, and when you open a new tab, then
it's not an easy site to navigate.
Yeah.
Part of me also really wants to get like a wood block print, not a print. I want the actual wood block painting.
Yeah, Tokyo Metro Police.
That's a cool one.
Yeah, some pretty awesome ones. But yeah, and of course they're done in the traditional manner, which is something that needs to, you need literally years of training to learn how to do it, and have to learn it from a master that have it handed down.
The YouTube channel is fantastic because they'll show you like they'll show you the guy carving out all the woodblock prints like step by step for some of the paintings.
Mm-hmm.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
You can see all the process going into it.
Yep, some very cool stuff. So
$150
one
of these days.
Yeah, 150 to 135 to 150 bucks for those stuff.
One of these days I'll get one of those.
Oh yeah, and that the AC Wraith, this documentary is actually free.
Oh, it is?
Wallace Fury says wooden block
Should
for the Great
be able to find it on
okay, gotcha.
YouTube, I would think.
He has it off of Amazon.
On Amazon? I saw it on an app called Pluto, but I don't think that's an on-demand app. It's just like live streaming TV.
Don't say buy two get one. That's a curse.
Hey, they have it going on. It's not me. It's them. Trust me, I'm fucking tempted. I have the list in my head. Witcher, Final Fantasy, Godzilla. It's like that's what I want to do, and it's like,
Miles Thompson said, "Did you guys see the Samurai Jack game? There was a Samurai Jack game."
I didn't see anything about that.
Now that you say it, now that I've said that out loud, it's starting to tickle my brain. I vaguely
remember hearing
something.
Someone talk about it on the Bombcast, and they were kind of disappointed because the art.
Oh,
it just looked like a generic 3D thing. It didn't have the same cool art that the show does.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, the YouTube channel has a trailer and links to the Amazon page. For the Yukio Heroes. Yukio-e Heroes.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at a video of the Samurai Jack game. It doesn't have the art is not at all what you would hope based on the show.
I unfortunately have to head out now.
Yeah, I do too, actually. So, so everyone in the YouTube chat, just wanted to remind you, if you see it at the bottom, there's a reason why we are scrolling that. The video feed is funded entirely by you guys because it is an additional cost that we have to incur with all the other costs that we have in order to do the podcast. So we're trying to build this up into a more robust show. And in order to do that, we have to keep the software that makes this all the service that puts this out. StreamYard. By the way, if you aren't using StreamYard to do a show, you might want to think about doing it. It is really, really good. But if you have, all we're asking is $1 a month. We have enough listeners and it doesn't cost that much to do this. So check us out at patreon.com/gamehounds. $1 a month is all we ask in order to support this video feed, both on YouTube and on Twitch, to keep us going and to ensure that I don't run out of money and can't do the video feed, because I want to keep doing it for you. I think it's way more fun, way more interesting. Certainly, we can show you the games that we're seeing. In fact, if one of the things I was hoping for when we went to PAX, 2020, is that we would actually have video that we could show you of the PAX floor that we could actually present to you here on the screen. So next year, unfortunately, we will have to wait for that. But going to be when everything opens back up, obviously creating more visual media for you to consume, because we are all about bringing as much as we possibly can to you so that you can enjoy us as much as you want. So everybody, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. We will be back tomorrow. Remember, we do this show live every Sunday. I forgot to mention that on my closeout. We do this show live every Sunday from 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Check it out. We are on Twitch. And if you are on Twitch, please subscribe to us and get a notification. Set us up for notifications so that you know when we go live. And if you're on YouTube, like us, subscribe us, and then hit the notification bell. And tell your friends. I mean, you guys all meet different people all the time. Don't forget to mention us. You know, Word of mouth is very, very powerful. And we certainly have enough people in the GameHounds Nation to spread the word that we are a good show and you need to listen to us. We're certainly fun and we love you guys. Not a lot of places can say that. So, direct them to the YouTube page, direct them to the Twitch page, direct them to the Spreaker page, or barring that, just go to gamehounds.net for more information. Have a great week, everyone. Be safe. Wear your masks. Seriously, wear your mask. Don't listen to anybody who's telling you don't need to wear a mask. You need to wear a mask. Socially distance, even if you are young, socially distance. We already had somebody in the chat room talking about somebody in their 20s who died from this. Yes, you can get sick. Please, please, please. And the most important thing, the less that you potentially spread, the sooner everything opens back up. Things like PAX, things like E3, all of these things would be open had people worn masks and stopped spread. Yeah, even if you are asymptomatic, that's fine. But everything being shut down is because it is spreading. So don't spread COVID. Wash your hands, wear a mask, social distance, and please be safe and take care of others. Have a great week, everyone. Bye, Nick. Bye, Andrew.
Bye.